It's a championship that has matured into the greatest amateur golf event in the Asia Pacific region. Now in its 13th year, the Asia Pacific Amateur Championship remains a stepping stone to the Masters and the Open, two of the most prestigious tournaments in the world, a catalyst for so many promising careers. This year, Bangkok, Thailand is the stage, the same as it was 10 years ago when a relative unknown 14-year-old from China, Tian Long Guan, won, earning him an invitation to the Masters, eventually becoming the youngest low amateur in the history of the tournament. Like Guan's epic win in 2012, other stories within this AAC stand out. Hideki Matsuyama winning back-to-back in 2010 and 11. And just a year ago, the #1 amateur in the world, Keita Nakajima, continuing his dominance, winning on the second playoff hole and honoring Japan with a third champion and fourth victory. This week, 120 amateurs have arrived and are ready for their own storybook ending, with the final chapter, an invitation to 2 majors, and a bookmark into AAC lore. The Asia Pacific Golf Confederation, in partnership with the Masters Tournament and the R&A, proudly present the 2022 Asia Pacific Amateur Championship. And the AAC returning to Thailand, Amata Spring Country Club in the industrial city of Chonburi, just south of Bangkok. A decade after that 4th edition was held here, won by Tian Long Guan with, how's this, Hideki Matsuyama, Cam Smith, CT Pan, all finishing top 7. So clearly this, one of the world's most significant amateur events, is a springboard to stardom. Rich history of high-level competition at Amata Spring. 23 major champions, including Tiger Woods, have played here. This week, 120 players from 38 countries and territories across Asia and the Pacific, with a life-changing opportunity in front of them, a chance to earn an invitation to the 2023 Masters and a spot in the 151st Open next summer at Royal Liverpool. Always a privilege to be alongside Frank Nobilo, New Zealand Golf Hall of Fame, 15 times a winner around the world, has covered this championship since 2012. Colt Knost, former McCormick Medal Award winner as the world's best amateur, is out on the golf course along with Australian Paul Gow, former PGA Tour member, who knows the Pacific Rim game as well as anyone. And Amanda Renner will have insights, feature stories, and interviews. Let's bring in Colt Knost with the highest ranked player in this field, 12th the World Amateur Golf Rankings, and the home favorite, TK Chantananawat.
Slight dogleg right, par 4 down here. They can drive it very close to the green. That's an excellent tee shot down the right side.
High hopes for TK and a good start, Frank.
It is. I'm still surprised he's only 15, Rich. I mean, we know he's the youngest, really, to win a professional tournament. Now, across to the 3rd.
Tremendous excitement here on day 1. Here's another one of the 10 players from the host country, Pongsapak Laupauki.
That was for the outright lead.
He birdied 5 of his first 7 holes, beginning at the 10th. 6 birdies in all, and so he's 5 under. James Liao, 25 years old, from Singapore, played some college golf at Arizona State, is a real standout. And I know you have your eye on New Zealand's own Jimmy Hyde's, a really promising young player, has been hot this past summer.
Yeah, actually had it to 6 under par with just 2 holes to go, but there's enough water out there to test these players. Had a double bogey in a second to last hole, but an excellent start.
You see down at the bottom of page 1, that's Wen Yi Ding. He is the USGA Junior Amateur Champion. And there's Bo Jin, 3 under par and a good start, plays college golf in America. And you see TK Chantananawat, 2 under par, right where so many thought he would be. You see players like Anson Yao from Malaysia, promising player as well. A lot of people are looking at Leo Oyo, plays college golf at Oklahoma State, and Hayden Hopewell of Australia.
Well, as well as Carl Phillips. I mean, you can follow him on YouTube. You know, this is a different breed. But, well, Rich, we had to wait for that opening tee shot.
6:30 local time this morning, representing the host country, Natapat KP Boone, nicknamed Top Gun. Distinct honor of kicking off the 13th Asia Pacific Amateur Championship. 16-year-old and a dominant junior player here in Thailand making his debut, and a respectable start with a round of 2 over 74. There's great passion for golf here in Thailand. Now some of the highlights, and here is James Liao.
Well, birdies at 9 are always rare, that's for sure. This is the hardest hole on the golf course. I know it was back 10 years ago. So this is an excellent way to finish his round there. 2-putt par and a round of 67.
Helped Arizona State to a runner-up finish in the NCAA championships last season. Made the round of 16 at the U.S. Amateur. What a shame for Taichi Ko, last year's runner-up, playoff loser to Keita Nakajima in Dubai. Had it to 4 under. Frank, then you see late in his round, 3 consecutive double bogeys.
Yeah, that's why the smile has disappeared off his face. I mean, a very talented player, as you referenced from last year. Now, this is the second, reachable par 5.
So this is TK. He's a really polished player at just 15 years of age. He is good friends with the hottest young star in golf, Tom Kim of South Korea.
Yeah, same nickname, or same initials, that is, in TK.
Now at the 3rd hole. By the way, April of this year, south of here in Thailand, this high school junior you're watching right here won an Asian Tour event at just 15 years of age, Frank.
Yeah, it's just hard to imagine. I mean, I know we're saying they get better, they're getting younger, but just to perform and win. And he beat Tom Kim to actually to do that. But in trouble here, well off the fairway at the par 5. So risk dropping perhaps at least 1 shot here. Gets it out, so this now is 4th. And you referenced just 15, and this is a glorious lob shot.
That is sporty, Frank. You love the technique.
The chance actually to get out unscathed. What a 5.
You like that save? Incredible 5 there for TK. Now at the 8th hole, this is going to be one of the harder holes throughout the week, and it'll stretch to what, 235, 240.
Yeah, they're playing it off the front tee today, or the shorter tee, but you could see that club twirl there. You knew it was good.
And now, here's another young man from Thailand. This is Pongsapaklao Palki.
Another one that could comfortably reach the par 5, so nearly an eagle, just needed to be hit. To be fair, these greens are a little slower. There has been a lot of rain over the last month or so in the region.
And the featured groups. 2 players inside the top 100 right there. And there's a good story. Subhash Tamang from Nepal. You're going to be hearing a lot about him over the course of the next 2 days. His journey just to get here. One of the more remarkable tales that we will tell. Hayden Hopewell, certainly a chance coming in, we all thought, to contend and maybe win. And Leo Oyo, big hitter out of Japan.
Yeah, he certainly can move it, that's for sure. And this golf course in soft conditions should suit the longer hitters.
Yeah, we had nearly 3/4 of an inch of rain overnight. They are playing preferred lies today.
Now back to 10. This after that excellent tee shot by TK.
You really like what you see, Frank. That's what you guys call that soft arms wedge shot right there on the heels of what we saw on the par 5, the beautiful flop shot.
We'll get to watch him a lot, the change of pace. I mean, normally some players are longer hitters pull with the wedges. I mean, he's very good throughout the bag. Once again, see the softer conditions, so we'll see big divots as well, but that was right over the top of the flag.
Yeah, a couple of more featured groups. Frank, Carl Phillips plays college golf at Stanford. Japan, as always, which has really been dominant in recent years in amateur golf, is well represented even without some of their top-ranked players in the field. There was a scheduling conflict, including world number 1, Taiga Semikawa, who is back in Japan. And the third featured group, headlined by Rehan Thomas, guy we're familiar with from past Asia Pacific Amateur Championships.
Yeah, he's gone close many a time. Lost out to Yushin Lin just a few years ago.
Right now we're at number 10, and let's bring in Colt Knost once again. And Colt, just how about the conditions down there?
Well, it's getting rather steamy, if I'm being totally honest. A lot of moisture in the ground right now, but it is very scoreable. If you can put the ball in the fairway, you can definitely attack these hole locations.
And Colt, early impressions of TK?
He's fun to watch. You know, his swing's not the most picturesque thing, but he's got a lot of swagger, carries himself like a professional. He's all logoed up. He's got the staff bag. It's impressive. He's not one of those guys. I just feel like no matter what shot he hits, he doesn't get flustered. He just plays golf.
So we mentioned the high school junior won an Asian Tour event earlier this year. He's made the cut, Frank, in 9 of his 11 official world golf ranking starts this year.
Yeah, and he would, should he go on to win, he would not be the youngest, that's for sure, because 10 years ago, remember, Tielong Guan actually won around here as a 14-year-old.
So Hayden Hopewell.
And that's going to be a disappointing bogey on a pretty easy hole. He drove it under the lip of the fairway bunker.
Coming off a decent run, playing some professional events back home in Australia, the Western Australian PGA Championship. He was tied 23rd and then tied 15th, Western Australian Open. He's a polished young player. Let's bring in Paul Gow, who's with Bo Jin at 11.
Yeah, he's absolutely piped a drive down here. He's up, then wind turned around behind him here, and this green is, wow, that is, was all for him.
All right, back to number 10, and this is Leo Hoyo.
How about the start he's off to, guys? He turned in 2 under, but bogeyed both par 5s.
Inexcusable with his length, really, Colt, because really, when you look at the 2 par 5s in the front 9, I mean, they're both reachable.
Yeah, Frank, he ships it. I mean, it's every bit of 320 in the air.
I talked to Leo last night at the opening gala. He's a really bright young guy, good personality. He did say, though, that consistency, Frank, has been elusive. Just trying to round out his game. Too many wild sort of swings.
Well, when you hit it that far, you better learn to hit it straight too, that's for sure. But just Colt, watching some of these guys on the range too, I mean, we used to sort of think when you were 14, 15 years of age, well, you know, maybe when you learn to hit it a little bit further, you know, you might be able to compete. But these guys, they move it.
They do. TK just hit one out there about 305, had just 80 yards left. And this is a good look to get to 3 under par.
You were surprised. You could see he did not break. Everything was lined at that left edge. Stroke was fine.
Mentioned he's good friends with Tom Kim. Played in a number of events together. In fact, TK finished 3rd in the Singapore International, 2 shots back of Tom Kim. And then on the amateur circuit, runner-up at the R&A Junior Open, 4th at the Southeast Asian Games. Well-traveled, well-schooled. Grew up playing some public courses here. Now has access, as do many of the talented young amateur players and even young professionals from Thailand. They have access to Amata Spring right here, which is nice that the course has opened its doors.
Yes, and they actually have one of the academies here as well during the course of the year. Now, across to the front side, this is the 4th hole.
Well, Patke is 5 under already.
Just a slight dogleg right, par 4.
Nice touch. What do you think of the golf course, Frank?
It's good. I mean, we've talked to the superintendent. I mean, they've done a marvelous job. September, for example, that average rainfall is normally 13 inches. They had 27, so more than double.
You can see some of the greens were damaged. They just did a remarkable job getting it back to this point. There was some genuine concern even a month ago. Mike McKenna, general manager, and also in charge of the grounds here, and his staff, they work tirelessly. Rightfully very proud of the course they're presenting this week.
Yeah, they have a staff of 70, and he said he needed every one of them. What a golf course it seemed. Interesting look here at the 11th, par 5, and this is one of the holes that I refer to where the longer hitters are taking just a big advantage. You can take an obscene line down the left side and turn this into a drive and an iron, but if you can't fly the ball 300 yards, that bunker right situated in the middle of the fairway is the real problem, because then you have to worry about the 2 bunkers down the right side. And this green, it's not very deep, just 21 yards deep. Now, see what the big fella can do.
spent the first couple of years of his college career in America at San Diego State, transferring to Oklahoma State, deep program.
You called that pot bunker is about the only thing these guys really worry about. Because it's the one thing you have to avoid. That's exactly really where TK is aiming. So it's a big carry down that left side.
Easiest hole so far on the golf course.
That's right. I didn't even look at it. So that's fine. You can play it from there. He's so good now, though. Playing lift, clean, and place today because of the rain that we had this morning that you already alluded to, Rich.
Of course, a little bit more than 7,100 yards today. Can stretch out to 7,500 yards at a par of 72.
Now Hopewell. A little shorter swing. We see that a little bit more on the PGA Tour. Club face a little closed. That right hip moves through very, very nicely. So that's normally the swing you'll see out of a player that likes to fade the ball.
Paul Gown knows a little bit about that. We were talking about the shorter swings, Rod Pampling, guys like that. Paul, accomplished player in his own right. Right now the eagle putt here at 11 for Bo Jin. This to get to 5 and tie for the lead.
Pretty flat putt here.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Bo Jin. So how's that start to the backside? 3 under first 2 holes. Birdie at 10, eagle at 11. And big Bo Jin of China, he is tied for the lead. This what we expected. Low scores on a soft golf course for the best amateurs from across the Asia Pacific region. Day 1 of the Asia Pacific Amateur Championship.
So 38 countries represented this year, 120 players. So we've gone past the COVID period where not everybody could field their best team. And the landscape's beautiful. The temples that surround this golf course. Thailand, country of nearly 70 million people. At golf here for a number of times. I remember the first time I ever came here, I met a gentleman by the name of Sukri Onchum, who actually got to play in the Masters. And Sukri really is the grandfather of golf in Thailand. As we look at some of the players that are playing here. Australia with a stronger team now than what they presented just a couple of years ago. You think the Asian region, when you go back sort of the 60s, you know, there was 2 types of golf. There was the golf played in America with the larger ball, the 1.68 inches, but really the rest of the world played with a smaller golf ball, especially through the South Pacific area. And it wasn't really until about the late 80s, early 90s, where that part of the game was standardized. And this is why it took this area, as well as Australia and New Zealand, to be honest, a little bit more time to try and catch up with their American counterparts. Now, at 14, Oshima after a good drive. Clips it nicely off the top. It's another little dogleg left par 4. So soft conditions to be taken advantage of. You can't get reckless. There's enough breeze out there. Breeze is coming from the east, and there's enough water there too. This used to be just one enormous lake. It's now being divided into 2. And that is the famed island green. There's only 2 island greens in the world. So it's actually on pontoons.
Back at 12. Tied for the lead after the eagle at number 11. This is Bo Jin at the short par 4 12. Unusual follow through. I would expect into the weekend, Frank, we may see the tee here at number 12 moved up where it is potentially drivable.
Yeah, they could easily do that. Yeah, that's the hole where it's positioned there at the 11th, the dogleg left par 5. Second shot just ever so slightly downhill.
This is Hayden Hopewell of Australia.
With an interlocking grip. Oh, didn't need much more to carry that front bunker. Because the sand's a little grainier this week.
You see one of the unique features here of golf in Thailand, the female caddies go through a rigorous training program.
They're good too.
Skilled at reading greens.
It's not unusual. I remember even the days when I used to come here through the mid-'80s, there was players like Payne Stewart. Some lady caddies have been prominent for 40 plus years in the area. Now TK.
That is his father on his bag.
His father keeps him calmer. Imagine if you're 15, you wouldn't be too jumpy. Especially if you're that good, for sure. So has to fly it on that line.
TK's a good student too. Academics important. Dreams of going to Stanford, and I would think he would be on their radar.
Yeah, actually, he wasn't here on property on Tuesday. He was in school.
Another twirl. Sensational shot. How about that from TK Chantunanawat? He knew it coming off the club face. It was a tiger twirl right there. A young man from Japan, Leo Oyo.
There's a sprinkler just short of that central bunker. It's about 208 yards to carry that front bunker. See, he's actually got quite a bit of loft there, so that looks more like 5 or 6 on, no more than that. More than enough. It'll be fine. This will be a little on the upslope. The greens being soft. Fairly straightforward chip for the big man.
Pangsapak Laupatki.
Very good technique. Get down the range now. I mean, you don't see very few of the quirky swings. It's another good shot right in the heart.
Back to the 12th hole.
Yeah, you referenced that they might make it drivable in the weekend, Rich. I mean, they're only going to move it 2 tees up. It'll be like 290 now. New Zealand has a very good contingent. This is one of the players that was, well, talked to one of the coaches here this week. He thought would do a good showing. Chonburi.
Won the New Zealand Open in 2019. Anyone else in this crew won the New Zealand PGA?
I'm sitting across from the guy right now. That is a distinguished list. So it is Frank Nobilo, Bob Tony Jacklin, Kel Nagel, the great Bob Charles, and the legendary Peter Thompson.
Yeah, there was a
who
few
won the New Zealand PGA Championship.
He plays a bit like you, Frank. He's very methodical. He's made all pars up until the 11th hole. He made a birdie. He's just going to just take his time and win these matches.
He's got that calm demeanour that most New Zealanders have, Paul.
He certainly has. Been impressed with this young man. You know, 3 birdies on the front 9, 1 bogey. He just didn't birdie the last, but I tell you what, a solid game. Sebash, he's just plotting his way around the golf course. Unlike Bo, who's a big hitter, he can't take advantage of this golf course other than good iron play. It's coming from 140 with the wind off his left-hand side.
And this is potentially, depending on where this young man goes, this is potentially one of the better stories down the road in the entire sport. Subhash Tamang of Nepal, 20 years old, went from ball boy to amateur star, and he's just outside now the top 100 in the World Amateur Golf Rankings. There's an in-depth and thoughtful feature on aacgolf.com that you want to check out. Hayden Hopewell.
It's a nice shot. Played it to obviously release. There's not a lot of hinge on the way back there.
Beautiful technique.
Yeah. Now, Bojin at 12.
Yeah, just the 100 metres. He's got to be careful from the right-hand side here and going long. He's really dialed in today. I've noticed how much he's grown since last year. He's sort of grown into his body. He's a big human. He's 6'4", but he's got bigger in the arms, the legs, the lot. So it'll be interesting to see how he tries to manhandle this golf course.
Leo Oyo back at the 11th.
Just try and swing with the upslope. Just let it pop up. Release down the hill. Tendency sometimes is to try and overplay these shots. There's plenty of green. The harder version, still well played.
Really nice right there. So just that little bit left for a birdie for Leo Oyo. Get him to 3 under par and take advantage of one of these par 5s after having bogeyed the 2 5s on the front.
Another look there. See, he had the upslope, so that was always going to give him a little bit more loft.
Saw Leo, along with some of his Oklahoma State teammates, recently down at the fabled Seminole Golf Club in Juno Beach, Florida, for the Jackson T. Stevens Cup. The individual site, he finished 32nd there. 5th-year student at Oklahoma State. He was 21st last year in this championship in Dubai. Had one really good round, day 265. TK this to get to 4 under very quickly here. This for Eagle.
There has already been 5 eagles at 11 today. Philly strike, perhaps left edge and nothing more, really. He putted it straight. So he's going to move a little to the right. Pretty hard to be disappointed with birdie.
Mildly disappointing birdie for a young man with high standards.
Coming in as the favorite.
Hautke is a countryman. This for the solo lead. It's a pretty good roll. Not quite enough. And back to the 11th now. Oyo for the birdie.
Reference, these greens a little slower than they'd normally like to have them, so these putts, still got to give them a little bit of a hit even though it's downhill. It's an excellent fall. Got up and down.
You know what a powerhouse program Oklahoma State has been. It says he transferred from San Diego State to Oklahoma State. Just wanted a challenge. You see Rayhan Thomas, who's in this field, Bo Jin, who is currently tied for the lead, and Leo Oyo. That's a lot of firepower. And Oyo, at times, has had difficulty even cracking the lineup at Oklahoma State.
Yeah, well, that pipe. The good thing is they see the pipeline that's open between Southeast Asia now and the college system in America now. They recruit from all over the world, but also they bring back, they bring it back to their home countries. Some of the junior programs we're seeing here, they just were non-existent 20 years ago.
Number 12, Tamang. Good putt right there. Good putt. just last week, he was tied for 9th in the Thailand Amateur Open. Well, we are in the heart of Southeast Asia. By the way, it is 11 hours ahead of the east coast of the United States. Thailand's a country of about 68 million people, bordered by Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, and the Andaman Sea. We're at Amata Spring Country Club. It was built 2005. And here is Leo Oyo. It's a warm day. That's been hot and muggy here. The weather forecast looks really good the next 3 days.
Shoves that to the right. It's a poor swing, but it's only a short par 4. Stay short of the bunker. He might be all right. He doesn't need driver. There's no real advantage taking the the bunkers down that right side out of a play. I mean, you can't really drive it from that back tee.
Let's bring in Colt with TK.
Yeah, short little par 4 here, the 12th. Just
apologize for some of those technical difficulties down on the ground. Frank, nice for you to be back in Thailand. You were on the call here a decade ago.
Yeah, it was fun. It was brand new. It's nice when you go back to a place. I think because there was always a little bit of nervousness, like for the event to be here for the first time as we watched TK. But now people have seen what this championship has grown into. So this year was anticipation more than anything, and a feeling of privilege to be able to host the championship for another time. And perhaps too to have the leading player in the field being the same nationality in TK. I mean, that would be huge.
This is a dream start for the home country. Well, Patki is tied at 5 under par, and TK's playing very well.
And Thailand's hosted a lot of. I mean, Tiger Woods getting one of his first wins actually in Thailand.
You were in that field, weren't you? That was what, 2-3 months before he won the Masters in '97.
He only won by 10 shots. And,
here in Thailand.
Yep, and we didn't realize he wasn't the 15-time major champion in those days, so we're all a little naive. Excellent tee shot from Hopewell. Of course, he took those bunkers on.
Tiger obviously with Thai roots. His mother is from Thailand. And ahead on the green, this Bo Jin is to get to 6 and the lead outright.
Trying to do what hasn't been done. Have 2 brothers win this championship. His elder brother had already won here. Now to 15.
And this is Justin Bai. So right now, day number 1, soft conditions, golf ball in hand, 5 under, leading the way. Winning scores, those in the know predicting 15, 16 under by week's end here in Thailand.
So the Amata Spring Golf Course, as we look at the leaderboard there, it was originally a wastewater reservoir. The course designer Lee Schmidt's first impression really was just a flat piece of land around here with an enormous big hole in the middle. But Yale felt that the big hole in the middle could actually, in fact, create some sort of special design on this golf course, which they did, hence the floating green that we've already referred to. But one of the things that I really admire, the 95% of the population, they're Buddhists. You see temples everywhere, and a lot of the male population here actually train as monks just for a little while. So if you get up early in the morning around here, especially in this area, you'll often see them handing out food. I mean, it's a wonderful thing here, part of the culture. So it's considered land of the smiles, originally known as Siam, and now they're a golfing destination, and this regarded as one of the best golf courses. So there's a beautiful picture of some of the temples there, and a lot of the towns, they have multiple temples. And also from here, we're about an hour and a bit from downtown Bangkok, and there's so many places to visit, and the architecture too. They have artifacts that in this country that date back nearly 20,000 years. So it's amazing. That, believe it or not, is the top of a castle. So they got it all here. There's a monarchy.
The Asia Pacific Amateur Championship is proudly brought to you by Bank of America. What would you like the power to do? IBM, let's create. AT&T, fast, reliable, and secure. And Mercedes-Benz, electric, made extraordinary. At the 12th, this is Leo Oyo of Japan. Good start to this championship, 3 under.
Shots in a row. Problematic too. That's a lot of bunker he's got to traverse to virtually very little green. It's actually one of the easiest holes here at Amata Spring.
Amata Spring was the first club in Thailand to host the LPGA. Back in 2006. They're now at Siam. You mentioned Tiger. He was here for a Skins game back in 2010. And now TK.
The ball is just slightly above his feet. So you have a right flag. Has to be a little careful here. So a shot like that, you can use the flag as the target, and then if you had a natural little draw to the middle of the green, there's nothing wrong with that. Take on every flag.
His iron play looks fantastic, Frank.
That was ball too. That is tremendous. You can't believe it just didn't sort of kick a little left. That was a great shot.
He's hit some stylish looking shots. Not lacking confidence, is he, Frank?
I like the hairdo, really.
That's full head.
Yeah. It's not grey either.
Let's bring in Colt as Hayden Hopewell of Australia gives this one the full treatment.
Guys, I'll be honest, I didn't see many of these guys going to hit. Oh, but Hayden pulled it off. Has
Paced it all the way back, as we referenced. Left clean in place. I like the nickname Houdini. That says a lot, right?
I like the fact that he played Australian rules football. I was talking to...
Have you watched it?
I have a little bit. But I was talking to Cameron Young, who's the red-hot rookie on the PGA Tour, and chance to chat with his dad, David, who's the PGA professional at Sleepy Hollow outside of New York. He felt as though his early days playing ice hockey toughened him up.
Oh, he's bringing it in a little low, trying to skip it. It's not too bad. Well, already, as you saw too, if you're reading carefully, that twice a runner-up in professional events.
Frank, good old-fashioned toughness.
Never hurts.
Maybe obvious. How important is it in the as you get further along in the elite levels of the game?
It's imperative. I'm just talking to a lot of the players here. You know, there's a sense of being uncomfortable because if you've never been, for example, to Thailand, it's new. It's soft golf as we watch Bo Jin here at 13, par 3. And getting comfortable, you know, like living out of a suitcase, time changes, things like that. That's how you toughen yourself up.
One thing, though, Frank, the amateurs today are really well-traveled. I'm guessing you didn't do nearly the international travel these guys did when you were coming up through the ranks in New Zealand, as we take you back to 12?
No, there wasn't these events for a start. The carrot at the end of this, the chance to go straight into the Open Championship, playing the Masters, it just non-existent.
One player called it the golden ticket.
It is, because it really is career changing, that opportunity. And for some players, Hideki Matsuyama 10 years ago did not turn professional because he wanted to win this championship 3 times in a row. Cross again to the other side, the 6th.
Well, Pakdi.
You just see the skills around
I was just about to say that, Frank. I mean, look, the golf course is soft. It's there for the taking, but it's the level of shot making we're seeing, the variety.
Yeah, soft
That's
conditions.
impressive.
Yeah. Ushima here at the par 5. It's a good finish too. You know, when you sort of fast forward to Sunday, you look at 16 and then 17 and 18, a difficult finish.
So 120 players. We had 93 last year in Dubai. COVID, sort of limiting the ability players to travel from various countries. 13 players inside the World Amateur Golf ranking top 100, and there are 59 making their debuts. Thailand with the most players. They have 10. It's the host country. And Australia, Japan, Korea, China, all well represented.
Oh,
that's a hard lip out right there. Just a little too much mustard on that. Played the Junior President's Cup for Tim Clark, captain. Back to the 12th.
Just enough undulation in this green. This to somehow get away here with 4. This would be some 4. Really hasn't had a good shot on this hole.
This is what he talked about last night with me. He just can't level out his rounds. He's lacking consistency with his length. You mentioned bogeys, 2 of the par 5s in the front. I mean, there's plenty of talent there. You see, that's 5 birdies, and then here's the short par 4 12th, which is 10th hardest on the golf course today, so not overly difficult. He makes bogey.
Well, Colt referenced earlier too the 2 bogeys on the par 5s. Really, when he can reach comfortably with a drive and an iron.
Now Hayden Hopewell.
Still a good round, 2 under. Remember, there is a cut here, 120 players, so it will be reduced to 50 in ties after 2 rounds. So anything in the red today is obviously a good start. This, but gone are the days where 73, 74s. These guys, they like to live in the 60s.
This championship debuted 2009 in China, won by Chang Won-han of Korea. This famous champion Hideki Matsuyama went on to win the Masters, and that is another disappointment. He'll tap for par. Little too much speed there, Frank.
Yeah, it's the eagle putt of the previous hole was similar. I mean, it could easily be tied for the lead. He will remain 2 back. And 2 back shows you the strength of it. 2 back. That's outside the top 10 at the moment.
See how he responds. And Bo Jin. Bo Jin remains at 5 under and tied with James Liao of Singapore, who is in the house with 67, and Pongsapak Laopakdi from Thailand. New Zealand off to a good start as well. And while we have a moment, let's go down to Amanda Renner.
Rich, in support of the championship's mission to create heroes, the founding partners recently opened 2 golf academies, one in Dubai and one right here in Thailand. The mission to continue to inspire and develop future golfers, as well as elevate the game in the Asia Pacific region.
Our ambition for the Academy is to find a way to seriously increase the level of sophistication in approach to playing golf, competing at golf, preparing to play golf tournaments around some of the regions that perhaps haven't had the opportunities that some of the more established countries such as Thailand, Australia, Japan actually do. Hopefully when the players go back home from the academy, they'll talk about the academy. They'll talk about the drills that they did. They'll talk about the things they learned. As that process just sort of starts to filter, it's going to have an impact on local golf development.
From Dubai to now 3,000 miles away in Thailand, it has been proven that these academies instill confidence in every player.
We have a fantastic team of specialists to educate, train, and prepare the players for the upcoming AAC.
Our role here is to get these guys tournament ready and trying to give them an awareness of what they're going to expect at a tournament of this magnitude with the TV cameras. It's a little bit overwhelming for these guys the first time, and we want to make sure that they're not overwhelmed and that they can show their full skill level.
It's been really fun coming to the academy. I've been able to make new friends and meet really great people. They've been really helpful this week. They've taught me so many new things. I'm really excited and I'm looking forward to playing the AAC.
Frank, what a wonderful initiative.
It's marvellous. I was talking to Nick Shan, got to meet him just a couple of days ago, and saying, why the academies for a start.
Nick from the RNA, who's in charge of these academies.
Exactly, and just, you're presenting the players with a blueprint. Because a lot of these players, for example, I was talking to someone from Bahrain. They only have 3 golf courses in Bahrain, and only one of them has grass on it. So it's eye-opening. Some of the players didn't even have grooves on their wedges. So, for example, they would give them brand new wedges. I mean, I'm not trying to spoil them, just simply say, you can, and instantly they were better players. So they look at everything. They look at them as a person. They look at the game of golf. They look at their equipment. And in 4 or 5 days, they leave with something, not just for themselves, but something they can share when they go home.
Mentioned the young man from Nepal. One of his benefactors made it a point to remind a reporter that the clubs he is using were bought from RNA funds through the Golf Association of Nepal. He wanted to make it known to the world that the RNA and the Masters Tournament are doing this kind of work. As we watch TK tee off, sort of a different kind of shot. Frank, I have to tell you, he has an advanced, it appears, just in the early going, an advanced level of shot-making ability and a wide array of shots.
Yeah, if you look at the second shot into the 11th, the par 5, where you try and flight it high, that one there, he tries to flight it low. Bo Jin trying to do the same here, a little 3/4 shot with a fairway wood, sort of poke it down the fairway.
What do you think of that move?
Well, you've got to look at him as an athlete. I mean, he's like 6'4". Yeah. I hate to say I went up to him in the dinner last night, I felt dwarfed. And so the swing accommodates that. Now, Hopewell, same thing, just a little bit into the breeze, keep it down. Obviously not nearly as good as the younger player in the group, TK.
Back to the academies, Frank. Interesting. You watch golf day to day, week to week. The typical 3-ball might hail from Florida, Texas, California. First group out here at 6:30 this morning. Thailand, from Cambodia, from Jordan. Another early group. Thailand, Lebanon, Vietnam. This is how you grow the game. And for the Masters Tournament, the RNA, it's Leo Oyo. It's not just a slogan, Frank. They have put soft spikes on the ground in far-flung spots around the world, and it's working.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Good shot from Oyo.
So it's been an entertaining opening round as we're watching 2 of the best young players from Thailand make an early move here at the 13th playing of the Asia Pacific Amateur Championship.
We're so impressed. Young 15-year-old TK. He has the poise, and there is no doubt, too, with what we've already seen today in the opening round of the 2022 Asia Pacific Championship, that he has the goods. 12th ranked amateur player in the world. If you've been listening, already the winner of a professional golf tournament. That is a record, a Guinness Book of Record, the youngest ever on a recognized tour. And not a blemish on the scorecard today. And really should, to be honest, should have been at least 2 or 3 shots better already. He trails by 2. And it's a very talented field. No surprise, the 38 countries that we referred to for 120 of the young men in this field. But Amata Springs, that has just been softened by the rain. So for these guys, they have the, well, the disdain, really, to play aggressive golf. And they're not backing down, and we're just seeing a ton of players in red numbers. 25% too of, well, actually more than 25% of Thailand is covered by native tundra and trees and that. I really see a lot of pollution here. It's great. Now this is the 12th hole, that short dogleg left par 4. Now Lin from Chinese Taipei. Once again, another excellent golf swing. And a fine shot.
We are at the 12th hole, excuse me, 13. You see Hayden Hopewell, gray shorts, white shirt. How about this shot, Frank?
Well, the mound, you see him just go up there because if this ball lands on the downslope, it's going to kick forward. So you look for that little circle, depending on how good you are, whether it's about a foot in diameter or a couple of feet. Pick that spot, let the green do the rest. So you've got to aim a little left of the flag, let the ball kick down towards the hole. The soft conditions. It's a tester for his 3.
Well, Patki going for it here at number 7.
They've just shortened 7 up today. It's up about 25 yards. 2 big hits still. So flag high.
So this is the 13th edition. Japan and China have combined to win 8 of the previous 12. Hideki Matsuyama winning back-to-back, and then Yu Jin Lin of China in 2017 and 2019. Australia's won twice, Korea twice. This is some still photographed right here. The 3 great young Japanese players on the Hogan Bridge at this past year's Masters, Frank.
Yeah, defending champion Hideki Matsuyama. Actually, 2021 was special, wasn't it? Because you know, they also won the Anwar. I mean, it was a great year for Japan. The bow by Kita's caddy we saw last year in Dubai, and of course the famous bow at Augusta National.
And from Japan, here is Leo Oyo. How about this from Japan? 3 world number 1s on the boys' side in the last 4 years. 2 McCormick medal winners, 2 men's Asian amateur winners. Dominant in the Asia Pacific Amateur Championship, and they owe an awful lot to their coach, the Australian Gareth Jones, been the national team coach for 7 years now. As we watch Bo Jin of China.
Issues there. Yeah, Japan trying to sort of restore itself as a world golfing power again.
And now TK. So just a little bit of a run of, I'm going to call it bad luck, but just your putts not dropping and the frustration mounting, but he continues to hit good shots.
I mean, could have played the last 3 holes 4 under, basically. And really had a putt outside 15 feet. Still 3 under, and it is round 1. But with these conditions, you've got to imagine, look how close that is. Certainly could have gone in for the same price.
Hayden Hopewell.
Just they've all got to adjust to just the greens being a little slower than what everybody would like. It's not quite running out. So.
Now we're at the 12th hole.
Japanese Taipei, always good. Actually, C.T. Pan, he had a chance here in 2012.
It's Chuan Tai Lin. And now Leo Oyo to stay at 2 under par, and he does. So right now, the lead is holding at 5 under par. Number of players in it, 4 great scoring conditions, and the players here are taking advantage outside of Bangkok.
Just the one bogey for James Leo today. That came at the 8th. Apart from that, 6 birdies in that round of 67. Now across to 12. Seen decisions made off the tee. Seen a few drivers really, but the prudent play, just knock an iron at the top of the hill. Attack it with a wedge. So Ryan Thomas. He's going to keep playing here till he wins it. Protected by those bunkers down the right. We've seen a few too many players actually go there. This fairway's wide enough. It's nearly 30 yards wide, especially with an iron. Now 16. The par 4, Oshima. This golf course just under 7,200 yards today, so there's still some big par 4s. Should be easier for 4. See a few misread putts. Players obviously had the chance of practice rounds around here, try and do their homework. Now let's have a little drive around the 14th here. Dogleg left par 4. That's a nice one. Once again, a bit of a decision. 288 to that bunker down the right. Some of the longer hitters actually try and get it all the way down on the flat. That's what we saw yesterday. So it just depends on really how you prefer to fly it.
All right. It's pretty evident by that shot. We're not in the US of A. We're in Thailand, happy to be here, watching one of their great young stars. It has been an afternoon of club twirls and scintillating shots. Center cut again for Ratchanan Chantunanawat. They call him TK, 15 years old, highest ranked player in this field. At the 12th in the World Amateur Golf Rankings, has already won a professional event. Just a high school junior. Now Leo Oyo, big hitter from Japan.
Cell Tower, you can see in the distance above the trees, actually not a bad line, but you can't afford to go left of it. Because they don't really see where the ball finishes up, because it lands on that downslope. That's fine down the left side.
Hayden Hopewell, Australia, 1 under par.
Same down that left side. Conditions are soft enough. And the rough, not too deep, a little over an inch.
Ponsapak Laupakdi once again for the lead.
And That is
There
his
it is.
7th birdie of the day.
Great performance by the young man from Thailand. Now Bo Jin, 5 under and a shot back.
Right knee really goes a long way through the hitting area, doesn't it? And avoids the bunker, so it's reachable for Bo Jin from there. Rich, I just want to go back to these last couple of holes, really. We talk about the opportunities that TK has had. Go back to 11. Remember, 2 glorious shots at the par 5. So just imagine if these went in, right? He aimed it there. Just there's a slight misread. Still, it's an easy birdie, but our opportunity bagging. And then 12th, the dogleg left par 4. Excellent approach shot. This is a good putt. That spins out. So I'd say there's 2 shots that have gone away. And the 13, once again, another one. This is the longest putt, really, we've seen him have for a little while. Good effort. So I know soccer's a big sport here. The goalkeeper's doing a good job there. He's kept 3 of those out for a start. Can't believe it. 15, you want them all to go in. I'm jealous, seriously, of that here. I just
It looks to me like a shampoo commercial, more so than a golf highlight.
Well, if and when he turns professional, I'm sure he's going to get a deal like that. That's for sure. He's already got a few logos on that shirt of his. Just 15, hard to imagine. So TK, it's not to copy his one of his good friends and his mentor, really, Tom Kim. It's the initials from his parents, really. But like so many of the players here, I mean, you know, they start to learn the game. Some of them on the range. He was just 3.5 when he first started picking up a golf club.
The women's side golf in Thailand has really blossomed. You know, the Chonburi sisters, how great they've been, particularly Arya and Atia Titical is now up to number 2 in the world. All 3 of those players, the Chonburi sisters, Atia Titical, playing privileges here at Amata Spring.
Now, Hopewell with the second. We just saw TK with the rangefinders. They are allowed in amateur events. You just cannot have the slope on it, so it's just the yardage only.
Distance measuring devices are okay. Stressing speed of play now. They want 3 balls to get around in what, about 4:30 or so, Frank?
A little quicker than that. 4:15.
One thing across junior and amateur golf, and in the college ranks, I know they're really preaching ready golf. Be prepared when it's your turn. Walk to your ball like an athlete. You can chit-chat along the way, but when you get there, get busy.
Yeah, and also, you know, we have to point at the professional game. I know we cover that more because, you know, these guys are, you know, they're their role models. So if the professionals take more time, it goes down to this level as well. It goes to the club level.
And you can see preferred lies because we did have nearly 3/4 of an inch of rain overnight. Golf course already saturated with the tremendous amount of rain they've had in the last couple of months.
And also it was preventative. There was a possibility of a little bit of a mini storm coming in about 1 or 2 o'clock this afternoon. You know, it's currently just past 3 local time. So it's also preventative. Should you get rain and then all of a sudden these players would be at a distinct disadvantage. So good decision.
The worst wet season on memory here. Tail end of 3 typhoons, which swept across the Philippines, hitting Vietnam, and then into Thailand. So it's been extremely difficult for the golf course.
TK, he's being dialed in with his irons, not this one. He gets a nice bounce. You never know, that might be the one he makes.
That's the way it goes in golf, right?
You make momentum, you lose it. Just see him choke down a good inch or so off the club. Just dug a little too deep at that.
Now, Leo Oil
just had enough of a gap around that tree. Was nearly stymied.
You can see some of the greens, in fact, to the weather. The grass here is paspalum. It's an older version, susceptible to algae when it gets wet. So with 5 months of rain, they did end up with some distressed areas on the greens. And the team, they've been working nonstop, Frank, to get this golf course ready for this championship.
Yeah, and they're actually doing something, you know, we're talking about the water around this golf course. They say they've got a system where they can make that water, you know, the purification process. They're actually going to regrass these greens with like sort of a tiff dwarf. So they're going to go away from the paspalum, which they think would actually be a little better should they get, you know, sort of heavier rains going forward.
Frank, I know how much you and I enjoyed the festivities last night. The big kickoff event of the week. It was at the famous 5-star Mandarin Oriental Hotel in downtown Bangkok. Participants from all 38 countries and territories treated to so many of Thailand's wonderful cultural traditions and cuisines. The food here is off the charts. Host dignitaries from the Masters Tournament, the R&A, and the Asia Pacific Golf Confederation joined in to celebrate this special championship event. The evening concluding with the Pledge of Fair Play, which is the traditional toast of the night, delivered by Tai Chi Ko. Wonderfully so, I might add. He was the runner-up last year, and really a perfect beginning to this year's AAC. Frank, I always like to see the young men, coats and ties, interacting with the grown-ups. Polite, well-spoken, and just another really good night.
It was, you know. Food, once again, as you'd expect this year, beautiful. Now at 17, they've shortened it up just 137 yards, but it is across water to the famed Island Green. And that is an excellent shot.
He, too, is a member of that Japanese national team we talked about, which is coached by Gareth Jones. Now, Hayden Hopewell.
It's to spin back just nicely.
Now TK. See if he can take advantage of that good bounce. And TK, another one of those with playing privileges here at Amata, as we take you to Bo Jin at 15.
Plenty of club. You see he's gone down a good 2-3 inches on this fairway wood. Finds a little home in the bunker. But that's a good lesson for everybody at home. You know, when you're trying to sort of work out your own golf bag, in between clubs, take the longer one. Just reduce the radius by choking down a little bit. Take some of the yardage off it. Now, back at the 14th.
This is Leo Oyo. Tiny bit of work left. Good effort. Big Japanese presence here in Chonburi. It's a huge industrial area. There are 450 Japanese factories in Chonburi. It's among Japan's biggest industrial zones outside of Japan. So as a result of the 800 members here at Amata Spring, 59% Japanese. 35% Thai, Korean and Chinese members, and a smattering of expats, but mostly Japanese members here at Amata Spring. And Frank, this is a par putt here for Lau Pakti.
Yeah, missed the green to the right, actually, and not a very good chip. And not only will he'll lose the outright lead, he'll have that little tricky one just to remain in a tie. James Liao, who already posted that opening round of 67, and of course Bo Jin at the par 5. He has a chance too to perhaps get to 6 under. He's in that greenside bunker. But here at 14, the favourite.
no doubt through the years, Frank, you played with some of the standout players from Thailand. I'm thinking about Thongchai Jaidi, maybe Rayad Marksang, players of that ilk.
Yeah, I go back actually when I first came here. It was in the early '80s. I mean, I hate to date myself, but I just referenced the name Sukri Onsham, who was actually the grandfather. I think Sukri's about 78 years of age now, and Sukri managed to get to play in the Masters, so that was huge. But in those days too, you had like the grandfathers of the game in this area. You know, it's still relatively new. Ben Arda was a player from the Philippines.
Frankie Minoza.
Exactly, you learned from that. Frankie Minoza, slightly different generation, but this new generation is just different. I've got to, without trying to be derogatory to the previous, technically they're so good. We look at TK already at 15 years of age. A putting stroke that's as good as any on the PGA Tour. You see his golf swing, his ability to shape shots already at this age.
Well, it's just what's available to young players now, either on YouTube or through some of the academies that have been launched by the R&A and the Masters Tournament. And Chairman Ridley was talking about it this morning at the press conference. Just that's the reason why players are achieving so much more at younger ages now, because the technology's better, the training's better, all of it's better.
Yeah, it's I liken it to the tunnel was always there, but there was no light at the other end. They provided the light.
Interesting. It's a good way to put it. Hayden Hopewell. And it's a good touch right there, Frank. Keeps it at 1 under par. For maybe a late run, a couple of birdies, just keep him in touch with the lead. And now Leo Oyo.
Just danger of letting this round slip a little.
Just trying to tighten the screws on things and just hasn't been able to do it.
Sometimes when you get soft conditions, you're a little over ambitious. Lose a little respect for the course. Good save.
He knew it too. Felt as though he needed that. So he's only 3 shots back. Now Bo Jin.
Fortunate not to be in that greenside bunker. That's a good lie.
Up and down here, and his name will be on top of that leaderboard.
Just leading edge, just stuck it in the ground there. Went for the shot there. Hit close. Now a big putt here. Putt D here at the 8th, par 3.
Okay, so he'll drop back only a shot, 5 under par, and tied for the lead.
Of course, 9. 9 is actually a difficult, well, both 9 and 18, water and play off the tee. So he's going to have to be a little careful, a bit like Bo Jin here back at the par 5 after the sloppy third.
Younger brother of Cheng Jin, who won at Clearwater Bay. You were on the call there, Frank.
Yeah, in Hong Kong, actually, where we did not have the final round because the wind kicked up. Day that was, I remember Ryan Ruffles was in contention. Beautiful chip.
Wow. Go ahead, Bo Jin. And just like that, Bo Jin gets his birdie, grabs the leads by himself, and he's a 4 under on this inward half.
I mean, watch this about 6 feet out. I mean, right there. Looks like it's got a chance. It's right in the heart.
Big fist pump. Bo Jin. Big Bo Jin. 6 feet 4 inches tall. And now at 15, this is TK. Okay. Hung on to that one a little bit, but he's in the short grass. He's 3 under par for his round today. No bogeys on the card. Two birdies here at this par 5 15th.
Trying to get it to turn. So there's a couple of shots he's started to leave out to the right. Watch them on the range. Yes, I mean, it looks like the draw is the preferred shot, but just bailed out on a couple.
Stay for Hayden Hopewell. Okay. So Bo Jin shipping in for birdie. Off the eagle, he made it number 11. The young man from China has a one-shot lead here, day one from Thailand, the Asia Pacific Amateur Championship.
That was a huge chip in by Bo Jin at the par 5 15th. Just a year ago, we were in Dubai. Bo Jin actually had the 36-hole lead there, was hunted down. And, for him, sadly finished in 3rd place. So once again, off to a great start. Look at the two leading Japanese players on the leaderboard at the moment. Oshima and Matsui. They're actually the last 2 winners of the Japan Junior Championships. So form and talent is certainly good. In Japan, they have the confidence now. Hideki Matsuyama, they had a win around here. Japan's been very successful, multiple winners of this championship now. Breeze coming from the east today. Puffing sort of close to about 10 miles an hour. It's wonderful to be back in Thailand after 10 years. It's wonderful to have to be speaking about a Thai player being perhaps the favourite. TK just strutting down. A little bit of a swagger too. Got the belief. Beat the professional. He should be able to beat the amateurs surely. But he's played around the world already. He's becoming quite popular. Tom Kim has talked about his talent as well, so he's 5 years younger than Tom Kim. So it won't be that long we see him out chasing the biggest names in golf.
I encourage you to go to aacgolf.com for all the latest on this magnificent championship. Video, live stats, and really good feature stories, including one on the young man we talked about from Nepal, from ball boy to burgeoning amateur star. So we're at Amata Spring Country Club. It opened in 2005, playing at about 7,100 yards today and a par of 72. This is the second time hosting. Tianlong Guan at 14 was the 2012 AAC champ right here at Amata Spring, and then the following spring made the cut, lowest, rather youngest ever at the Masters, and he won at 15 under par. Low score that year was a 63, and now we're at 16 with Bo Jin, who's leading at 6 under.
Another good tee shot. He knew it came out of the middle of the club. Well bunkered down the right. There's another one down the left. So it just bends a little to the right. Sets up a good finish here at Amata Spring. Now back to 15, the reachable par 5, but on my left for TK. Clean and place. And normally you'd think, oh, just sort of 3-wood, but there was a lot of club face on that ridge, so that's the big stick.
We discussed the wide array of shot making. Let's see what he does with this.
The ball looks pretty small against the driver face. That's absolutely fine, really.
It's not bad at all, Frank. Although he's disappointed
he
didn't knock it to 7 feet.
Yeah. I mean, it's about a 15-yard gap between the bunkers there, and he sort of pushes it about 3 yards right, and I can't believe it. He's not camera shy either, which is good to see. Now, Hopewell. That's close enough. Perhaps 3-wood can get there. Distance, but not have much green to work with now for this third. Not far away from where we just saw Bo Jin, but that one I think is in the sand.
And now Leo Oyo mentioned Japan and the great success they've had. Their top 4 amateur players are not here, much to the chagrin of the Japan Golf Association. A little bit of a conflict with college coaches back in Japan who kept his players back to play in a collegiate event there, including the #1 ranked amateur of the world, Taiga Semikawa, who, Frank, just became the first amateur in the 95-year history of the Japan Open to win the country's most prestigious championship. There's a lot of great talent coming out of Japan.
Yeah, there certainly is. We've crossed to 9. Second shot just a little uphill for Pauti. Get the tee shot away from the water, so that makes that second shot that much more difficult. As I said, you just scratch a par here, the hole across the other side of the Lake 18. I mean, they're both very tough finishing holes. So that's a little long. He's going to recheck the yardage.
Right now it's Bo Jin leading by 1 in the 13th playing of the Asia Pacific Amateur Championship outside of Bangkok.
This very golf course, Amata Spring. Just talking about that lake. That lake's actually 28 meters deep, so nearly 90 feet. And the goal really, this was a completely flat piece of landscape, so they dug that lake actually a little deeper too to try and generate some of the soil to give it some undulations. They did a marvelous job, and also actually divided what was one big lake into 2. If you get that's a better look at the golf course. You see the waterways. So they managed to just craft it. It's really sort of a miracle what they can do with what was a flat piece of land with just one big lake in the middle. Bunkering stands out beautifully. And of course, too, it's a golf course that will test just about every level of play. But you can be, relatively new to the game. There's not very many forced carries here. So if you want to come to Thailand, just over an hour from downtown Bangkok, and bring your golf clubs, easily get around and enjoy it. Stretch it out to 7,500 yards, so it'll Test the best players in the world at the same time. Looks like those rain clouds have gone.
First round. It is 4 rounds total. This is Leo Oyo of Japan. Third shot now. And it's beauty. Spins it back, and he will have a tap-in birdie. And now to the leader at 16. This is Bo Jin.
So he's pushed the ball a little bit further back in the stance. So this one might come in a little lower. Just off that down slope. Yeah, wants it to get down. Wants it to get up now.
Little Gary Player walkthrough follow through.
I think that was the down slope.
A little Patki.
So a little long and right here at the 9th. Really try to make that right hand move quickly to get it to stop, but once again in trouble.
Frank, it's an absolute life changer for the winner of this championship. Invitation to the 2023 Masters, a spot in the 151st Open at Royal Liverpool, where Tiger and Rory McIlroy have won, and then as well the 128th Amateur Championship at Hillside, which is outstanding golf course in Southport, England, part of what they call England's Gulf Coast, often overlooked. Wonderful track. Jack Nicklaus said some of his favorite holes in the world were on that second 9 at Hillside. And now TK Chantunanawat.
Plenty of green to work with.
Frank, I'll tell you, just the way he swings it, even on those shorter shots, there's an ease to it all. It looks so natural.
It is. He's gifted, that's for sure.
And though he's not big, Frank, he's compact, and he seems to be put together for a 15-year-old.
And it has that complete game. It's not just sort of a good iron player or a good putter and that. It's a nice blend of, he certainly has enough power off the tee. As we see Hopewell on the other side of this par 5. Fortunately, this is on the upslope, Rich, so that's going to make the shot a little easier.
Australians to have won it: Anthony Murdaka, Curtis Luck, Asia Pacific Amateur champions. Australians who played in this event, who springboarded to great things. Obviously, Cam Smith winning the Open and the Players' Championship. Cameron Davis, who was outstanding at the President's Cup.
Actually, one of the winners, too, at Royal Melbourne. Anthony Murdaka, the host nation gets to play 10. And, of course, that's where it will go next year, Rich.
I mean, Frank, you know, you play. This is one of the greatest courses in the world. This is Alistair Mackenzie. It's a classic 1926. Melbourne's famous sand belt, gorgeous bunkering, and there you see the captain of Royal Melbourne Golf Club in the middle behind the trophy. That's Tony Rule. He's here with all of the other dignitaries. Proud moment for that club. They'll host yet again. Also hosting 3 President's Cups, numerous Australian Opens, both men and women. And there's the Aussie Hayden Hopewell.
Yeah, he would love to play there in his home ground. As I was saying, the host country gets to have 10 players. And Anthony Murdaka was the 10th player on that team and went on to win. This week, actually, Thailand has 11. They have the 10, but then one player has withdrawn. So I'm not going to say a lucky loser, because it might just be the player that goes on to win. Now, TK for a birdie.
At last. There you go.
4 under still. He is only 2 back from Bo Jin.
This is 4 under, and it could be, as you said, 7 very easily. Well, Puck D.
His 4th shot. He is making a complete mess of this par 4. Oh, that's an absolute gem. If he can just get away with 5, I mean, it wouldn't be too bad. As I said, this is the hardest hole on the golf course. Now, Bo Jin has a chance to get to 7 under.
Great run right there. So Bo Jin's feeling it. He opened with a bogey at number 1. Then birdies at 2 and 4, 7. Started the backside with a birdie at 10, then eagle at 11. Picking up 1 more birdie since.
The big thing is he's played the par 5s 5 under today.
Bogey, and that's a bogey finish after having made 3 consecutive birdies. Still in all, it's a solid start for the youngster from Thailand, 4 under 68. Now to the 16th hole, Frank.
Yeah, well bunkered. Really got to make a decision because the first 2 bunkers on the right really aren't in place. You decide whether you want to move it off that left bunker with the tee slightly forward. As you can see, there little cart path that cuts across around that 296. If you're long enough there, just take it over everything. The awkward part of this is you can see the angle of the green. It slopes to the player's left, so the hole bends to the right off the tee, and then the green goes the other direction. And it's just close enough to that right side, so you have to respect that second shot here.
In all, Frank, how do you like the finishing stretch, 16, 17, 18?
It's good. You know, I think you've heard me say it before. I like what I consider an unbalanced golf course. So you get an opportunity on some holes, as they do on the par 5s, and then all of a sudden you get hit in the face with very tough finishing holes on both sides in 9 and 18. I like that. So it means you've always got to be adjusting.
How about TK in his practice round yesterday? Shot 12 under 60. He eagled 15 and holed a 5-iron at 18, which we'll see in a moment. At least we'll see that hole. Hold a 5-iron for eagle at the final hole.
He's taking it down the right. That's a big tee shot. We just showed you. It's 296 to that cart path, and that is 30 yards past that.
He has some flair to his game, doesn't he, Frank? All right, that's the Komodo dragon, sort of monitor lizards.
We're going to monitor
roaming the waters here at Amata Spring.
I don't think too many people will mess with that. Now, Oyo.
He's looking to dine out on some catfish.
So once again, another shot that is just left hanging right. So he wants this round to get over and a trip to the range. I mean, it's just something a little out of sync. Good thing is it's consistent. It's a little easier to fix. Doesn't have the two-way miss. You see from Hope, generally tends to play a little bit the other way. He's aiming down the left side. Just wants it to cut a little. And that's fine, but he is slightly bigger, slightly taller, and slightly older, but not nearly as long as TK.
Now ahead to call this the signature hole here, just given how unusual it is. We'll see it in full in just a moment with Bo Jin. This is a floating green here at this par 3. One of just 2 in the world. The other's at Coeur d'Alene in Idaho. So not an island green. It actually just, it sits on pontoons. Well, we have really enjoyed the food here. I've gotten out ahead of myself a couple of times with the heat, with the spice. Need to be careful here, but wow, is it tasty.
Now back at 17, the New Zealander Chonburi has already had a lot of success. Now just 137 yards. But he's not quite strong enough to really cause a problem, but you don't really want to be too aggressive. It's a little bit like the 17th TPC Sawgrass, where the miss is severely punished. Yellow penalty area, so don't find dry land, and you're hitting from a drop zone that is at least 100 yards. So it looks straightforward, but it's all that is around it. Those bunkers, they don't scare you at all, but the water all the way around. 32 yards deep and a fairly narrow green. Stick the hole in the back section like it is today. Just needs that much better of a shot. Little boat dock behind that, catch the boat across. Beautiful, picturesque little hole. Come Sunday, you're going to have to hit a shot there, and you're going to have to keep it dry, and then you've got one of the hardest holes to finish after that. Should we have a playoff too? That will actually, 17 could very well be included in the playoff, should there be one on Sunday. It's a little bit of everything here at Amata Springs. Past 72. Nice little boat to go across. Actually the superintendent. I said, because it's built on pontoons, I wonder if the break changes on the green should you get winds of 15 or 20 miles an hour. Wouldn't give me a definitive answer, so he's got the inside running.
That's Bo Jin, our leader. There are really just two options to get to the 17th green, this par 3, the floating green. You could swim, or you just take that boat right there, Frank. A couple of minutes and you're there.
Well, it's nearly 90 feet deep, that lake, so I'm not swimming, that's for sure, because I have no idea what's there. So
well, you don't want to run into any of those.
Exactly, and there's enough fish
lizards
there. And I've seen a Komodo dragon hang around there, so I'm not messing with that. So tranquil, that's for sure. But it's intimidating when you see that much water. You know, we've always said if you just stick a green like that in the middle of grass and that, nobody would miss it, really. 137 yards. Be careful what you fish down there.
And so 17 at TPC Sawgrass, that's an island green. There's earth underneath it, and you could walk to it.
But there is a peninsula to it, so is it really an island green?
That's a good point. But in any event, this is floating just on pontoons. And actually will wiggle a little bit in the wind. Is that right, Frank?
Well, I tried to get that out of the superintendent. I said, you know, like if it blew a certain way, would that change the break? And I don't think he wanted to give me the exact answer there, because, I mean, we might be telling everybody on TV it's going to break further right, break left. These guys are going to just have to figure it out themselves. But you don't get seasick, put it that way, when you're standing on the green.
I mentioned Coeur d'Alene in Idaho. This is the first floating green in all of Asia, and one of only 2 in the world. This is Coeur d'Alene in Idaho. Never been there, but I heard a spectacular resort.
It is. It's crazy. But look at the yardage. They can stretch that hole out to 220 yards. Do you really want to play across to an island green that's 220 yards or what?
Now, they're going to change this green in the coming months, make it a little wider, a little bit fairer. It's quite narrow at this point.
I want them to make it longer. I really do.
Well, they'll play it, this weekend? They might push the tee up where the shot would be, about 105, 110 yards with the whole location up?
Well, if they do that, they're only going to stick it like 5 or 6 paces on the front to sort of really tempt the guys. But I don't know. I think sometimes longer is better on that, because that back portion of the green, especially you get a little bit of breeze, I mean, you've really got to hit a golf shot.
All right, now Leo Oyo at 16. Going to be a good one, really good. So Leo Oyo, a chance to get to 4 under par. And now TK.
Green is soft enough. He just has to worry about the yardage here. He's got a club that's going to stop when it lands. attention. What a great shot again. And a little unlucky because these greens are soft. You would expect that to at least stop and spin back. He can't believe that kick forward. But still, chance for TK.
He is a really good-looking player. So this one of the world's great grow the game initiatives, and so too is drive, chip, and putt, which we look forward to every year when we go to Augusta National. This exciting youthful initiative, Drive, Chip, and Putt Championship. But for more information, go to drivechipandputt.com. Kids ages 7 to 15 with a chance to compete at Augusta National Sunday before the Masters. Junior golfer, you can get there, boys and girls. If you're a young woman, you can get to Augusta National with the Augusta National Women's Amateur. If you're from one of these countries, Vietnam, Cambodia, Jordan, Lebanon, Australia, wherever you are in this region, you too can get to the Masters, to Augusta National. Don't forget the Latin America Amateur Championship, which in January will go to Puerto Rico. New Zealander. How's golf in your country, Frank, in your home country?
It's going through a little bit of a resurgence again. We don't have the golf courses that you see in Australia, that where Phillips grew up. So we see him here at 15, the par 5, excellent birdie there. They're blessed really with some of the golf courses. I mean, you have so many in Australia. You have the Sandbelt, obviously, in Victoria, and then you have so many great golf courses in the New South Wales area, Sydney, where Paul Gower, our own Paul Gower, is from. But yeah, we have a lot of golf courses that sort of tip around 6,900 yards. And I think nowadays for these young players, they hit it far enough. They need golf courses that are long enough to stretch them out.
This figures to be a dramatic spot. The championship comes Sunday afternoon. Tamang from Nepal. I encourage you to go to aacgolf.com to read more about this young man. I had a friend who was retrieving balls at a golf course. He went, he did the same, picked up a club, and here he is.
Yeah, back at 16, TK. This putt will be a little uphill.
Frank, since we've come on the air, he really hasn't threatened bogey.
No, he hasn't really missed a shot. Perhaps a fast finish. Oh, what a great three, really.
You see any flaws? I know it's I know it's a very small sample size here.
We might have to get the microscope out to find those.
Frank, it's just the way the hands go on the club, just the way he looks, the way he swings it. It appears to be advanced. You can see why he won a professional event at 15.
Let's see if Bo Jin can counter here. He's not going to give up chance to get to 7 under. Get a little bit of breathing room. I know it's only day one, but you said he bogeyed the first hole, and since then it has been birdies galore.
Okay, now they're starting to pour it on. Two of the pre-championship favorites living up to the billing, Bo Jin and the local star. Back to Leo Oyo, this for birdie. Okay, so China, Japan, Thailand, New Zealand, all making their presence felt here day one of the Asia Pacific Amateur Championship. Frank, I can see why they're calling him a sensation. He's been sensational.
And so is Bo Jern. The lead was 1, and it just went to 2.
Day 1 of the Asia Pacific Amateur Championship. Excellent scoring conditions. And 7 unders leading.
Making birdie at 17. Jin takes the little ride back across. Head to 18, one of the 2 hardest holes on the golf course. Perhaps another birdie. Be for a round of 64. If you go back 10 years ago, the last time it was played here, Guan, he shot 64 on Friday, but the low score that week was 63. Used to be in contention, though, after 18 holes. At 11 of the last 12 Asia Pacific Amateur Championships were inside the top 7 after 18 holes. So, if you find yourself in contention after round 1, there's too much work to be done. And on the subject of Guan, just to remind everybody, when he was 14, he opened up with a round of 66. First 2 rounds were 66, 64. Did shake the world. Getting closer to 4 o'clock local time. Sunlight will be around for a good 3 or more hours. Enjoy the beautiful vistas around. Colours this time of the year. And the tundra are just spectacular. End of the smiles.
Off back-to-back birdies. This is a TK Chantunanawat. 2 shots back, par 3 17th.
Just another great iron shot. Distance is good. I mean, just seems to like pepper it. So many shots inside 15 feet already over the last hour and a half, 2 hours.
How about good transition, Frank?
Well, it's good position. I mean, the club's fairly neutral at the top, too. I mean, there's nothing rushed. I mean, the body, arms, they work in unison. Doesn't dig too deep, and you can see the flag blowing a little right to left, so you just respect that right side. Let the breeze do a little bit of work now, Oyo. No damage. Such a big stage for these players. The opportunity you were referring to, Rich, in that. So I see if hope. Well, he's starting to lose ground with the leaders, even though he's 2 under. Good, quick rhythm. Just a little off the mark still. 14 clubs in the bag. Maybe the putter can do some work.
Now the 18th hole, Frank. This is where our leader is.
Yeah, the trouble is obvious down that left side, and it's a beautifully placed bunker on the right side. If you just let it bleed a little bit off the tee, it gets swallowed up there. And that bunker has a big enough lip where you will certainly struggle. Forget the water, forget the big lake. Look at this little estuary up the left side with the waterfall, and that's really what gets the players' attention. I know the flag is cut on the front edge of the green today, but It's easy to see if you're going to miss. So the right, you must respect that. Right edge of the green is absolutely fine with that second shot. But
Shades of Quail Hollow.
it is, yeah. But fairway first. That's for sure for Bo Jin.
Bo Jin is 7 under par and perfect here at the home hole. He led after 36 last year in Dubai before finishing tied for third. His brother, Chen Jin, 2015. Course record 62 in the opening round of the 2015 Asia Pacific Amateur Championship. Holding on to win at Clearwater Bay outside of Hong Kong, Frank. You were there up and down at 18 during the third round, pivotal because, as you mentioned earlier, play was suspended due to high winds and rain and then eventually canceled. So he wins.
And he didn't win by default too. The players knew basically on Saturday there was a monsoon coming in the area, so he took a little bit more time on that chip shot. And I mean, the players were very aware there was a distinct possibility they would not play on Sunday. So that was a great up and down, and got his name on the leaderboard there at Clearwater Bay. Just 17 years of age too. That's, you know, I mean, look at those winners there. You know, Guan at 14. I mean, there's not an age limit on this thing. There's pure talent there.
Tianlong Guan and Chen Jin competing on the Chinese professional tour these days.
The tee shot, Bo Jin it was excellent. I mean, just split the fairway.
We talked to some of the coaches. In fact, Gareth Jones coaches the Japanese national team. He mentioned a couple of times how hard it is currently in men's golf at the professional level because of the depth worldwide. He stressed it's difficult.
Yeah, you can argue that the riches have never been greater in the game, but yeah, the talent has never been deeper. Now, Song, man from South Korea, here at the 9th. That would have been a rare birdie here today.
Min Hyuk Song, a run of 3 straight birdies, 10, 11, and 12.
Thank you.
His day, and now finishing up. And here they are at 17.
It's amazing how quickly the landscape of the game though changes. I mean, we talk about TK, who he beat to win a professional tournament. I remember seeing TK really for the first time at the Scottish Open this year. We knew he was good, and then what 6 months can do. We're seeing the same very thing for TK. As we go back to 9, Song taps in for his 4. Fellow countryman, Tom Kim, we're just talking about, who is now actually the highest ranked player in the world rankings from Asia. Tom Kim is overtaken Hideki Matsuyama. So they have a role model, that's for sure.
What a presence they had at the President's Cup. Obviously led by Tom Kim, but Siwoo Kim thought stood up really well to Justin Thomas, beating Justin Thomas in singles. Siwoo's an alum of the Asia Pacific Amateur Championship.
It shows you
K.H. Lee as well.
Yeah, it shows you the changing of the guard, so to speak. The President's Cup, to use that example, was normally people from the Southern Hemisphere, Australasia, South Africa, and now the nucleus is coming from this region, Southeast Asia, and thick and fast.
That's a great point. Now, Leo Oyo, long putt here for birdie at 17. And I would think in the coming years, Frank, in addition to Hideki Matsuyama, we're going to see. I love Keita Nakajima's game. Won the Asia Pacific Amateur last year. Good finish at the Zozo, just turned professional. Takumi Kanaya. You mentioned Taiga Semikawa, who is currently the #1 ranked amateur in the world from Japan. You're going to see plenty more coming from Japan as well.
It is. You can just imagine if you're 17, 18 years of age, if you were to go on and win here, you get to go to Royal Liverpool next year. You get to play the Augusta National for the Masters against the best players in the world. You know very, very quickly either where you stand or what you need. Hopewell at 17. Narrowly misses. And that's the important thing. It takes away the guesswork. I mean, years gone by, if you were 16, 17 years, there was always a guess. There was a chasm between where you were and where you thought you had to be in this game. It's now disappeared.
And the coaches, we mentioned the likes of Garrett Jones, the coaches understand
they've
completely
done some,
what it takes. Have to have speed nowadays. That's
they have
essential.
barometers that you can, these guys have similar club head speeds. You can go on a launch monitor and say you have the same club head speed as somebody on the PGA Tour. I'm sure Bo Jins is not far away, that's for sure. Look at that tee shot. I mean, he took that bunker completely out of play at 18. That's a big hit.
That is a monster tee shot.
Can he make another birdie?
See, Bo Jin of China trying to get out of here with one more birdie, 8 under 64.
Not a single Chinese player over par. At least he favoured the right side of the flag. I know he missed the mark, but nothing wrong with that. For a round of 64.
This for the deuce at 17 to get to 6 under and a third straight birdie.
Another good putt too. Caught a little piece of the hole. Very easy 3. Exceptionally clean scorecard.
And back at 15, this guy you mentioned earlier, Rayon Thomas. Plays at Oklahoma State as well, from India. For a long time he's trained in Dubai. Oh, look out. Go ahead and do that.
Huge putt there at the par 5.
There's a sizable Indian population in Dubai. His father's a businessman in the UAE. So that's where he trains.
Have a look at this. I mean, this goes through the valley, up over that hill, and takes that sort of right turn. Got him interested about 6 feet out. Huge, too, because really, that's a reachable par 5 today, and it looked like he was just going to make 5, and that was it.
There you go. Head of hair. Fluttering in the breeze here. It's all going
I can
his way.
I can hear the envy in your voice about the hair. I really can.
Too much envy, right, Frank, when you get to our age?
Well, it's not just the hair, it's the talent as well.
So TK mature at 15. The youngest and oldest participants. So Nasser Yaqub from Bahrain is 60 and in his 9th appearance in this championship. Jordan Indra Marcelo, just 14 years old. What a game, Frank. 14 and 60 on the same playing field.
Yeah, 14. Was it Bobby Jones made the quarterfinals of the U.S. Amateur at 14? So that's, I think that's one of the greatest achievements ever. I mean, but this generation doing similar things at similar ages.
This young guy seems, the phrase I would use, switched on in all the right ways. And you like the fact that he's an outstanding student, that he has aspirations to go to one of the great institutions in the world, Stanford.
Yeah, he's got goals and he's got balance. I think so. I think that leads to good parents as well. But I mean, I just like the fact that each, I've been fortunate enough to cover this event more than 10 years now, but you see a young man, Hopewell, from Australia and a young man from Thailand, and they just, through the game of golf there, just have a chat. And just the comfort level. I mean, I guess if our politicians acted more that way too, the world would be a better place. I mean, they just see the same so simply. Let's just play golf, Lowest score is going to win. It's wonderful. It's refreshing.
Slummers of the RNA, Chairman Ridley, they've driven that point home the last couple of years that It isn't simply about a pathway to the Masters or the Open. It's about those friendships that you make along the way.
And they want to put their best against somebody else's best, so it's coming from the world. And he just got the rangefinders out. Just wanted to he wanted to recheck the distance on that bunker. Sure he is. You know, he has the firepower to perhaps go over that, so he can aim a little bit down the right side and hopefully still take that bunker out of play should he leave it to the right.
Another one of the other key figures, Frank, you and I have gotten to know, Taimur Amin, the chairman of the Asia Pacific Golf Confederation, who was a really good player in his day back in Pakistan. He spoke last night. Rungsrid Luksitananda is the president of the Thailand Golf Association. No doubt proud of what he's seeing here.
Oops.
Should be fine, no? I hope so. Oh, it bounced.
Finds land, but do not think that was the line he was intended to take, that's for sure.
So Bo Jin with a chance for birdie at the final hole. We will see the lizards and the occasional peacock strutting their stuff here outside of Bangkok in beautiful Thailand.
Well, a few more birdies, that'll ruffle everybody's feathers. As we see Hopewell trying to finish up here, 2 under. Birdie here for a round of 69. Once again, he goes for his shot, just aim it down the left. A little bit of a hole. That's well positioned. That's one way to play. Australia had already had multiple winners of this championship. Trying for one more. TK just striding down 18, saying welcome to my country. You see the red stake, so it's a lateral. Red penalty area, so this now is 4 shots, second one in, taking this penalty. You're at 18. It's going along okay at +1. You really can't afford with all the good scores to try and minimise the damage. Up and down for a round of 74. Looks like he'll comfortably do that. That was well played.
Is Bo Jin, this for a round of 8 under 64. Respected the speed there. Again, the greens are not that quick, probably about 10 on the stimp. And the local hero from Thailand, just 15 years old, has really put on a ball-hitting show today. He's at 5 under par and 2 shots back as he comes to the 18th hole. James Liao of Singapore played his college golf at Arizona State. Ian much earlier today, 5 under 67. There's Korea. And again, Thailand, Lau Patki bogeyed his final 2. And there it is, 65 for Bo Jin to open. And that's with a bogey on the opening hole, 34 and 31 coming home, Frank.
Yeah, just well, the first hole's really, it's not that difficult here. So I imagine after that sort of opening start. He did not predict a round of 65, but what we saw today, it was just a brilliant back nine. 3 birdies in that eagle for the incoming 9 of 31. We referenced he led last year to 36 holes. That's 5, so that's a round of 74.
And Subhash Tamang, tough finish with the double at 17. 40 on the backside, 2 over par 74. Some round. How about the Nepal Golf Association raising enough money to be able to build a 4-bedroom house for Tamang's family? Been previously living in a hut. One of the places this game can take you. Now Hayden Hopewell.
Just like that. Took the club on the outside.
Fairly easy up and down. Ojin trying to follow in the footsteps of his brother. We showed you having won the Asia Pacific Amateur Championship 7 years ago. And now TK. Consultation with Pop.
Hope Dad's good at math. So really focusing on a target. It doesn't necessarily have to be the flag, just the start line. It is. Another super iron shot. And the distance control as well. That's the other thing. I mean, there's 2 factors, right? The line the ball's hit on, but also really he hasn't missed the mark.
You like all the fundamentals, Frank? The grip, the way that right hand sits on the club, the setup, all of that.
Yeah, no sign of tension. It's athletic. Now the last of the 3.
Like everybody's different, Frank, but TK just looks a lot softer than Sen. That's too bad right there for Leo Oyo. Just looks softer.
Yeah, he's obviously confident with his success. I mean, that helps. That takes a little bit of tension out. But, oh, that's a wicked break for Oyo. The ball's not in the wet with those rocks so close to the ball. It's going to be very difficult to get a club on it. So he still might have to take a penalty drop.
Yeah, Leo coming to this hole 4 under par, and so he's going to pay a price for that poor shot here. But one more look at this action, Frank.
Yeah, the setup looks very, very balanced too. I just like the way he lets the club set. So halfway back, there's already hinge there. You see he's reduced the length of the club, so obviously he's trying to play a shot. But it's a beautiful position at the top. Little laid off because he hasn't got it to parallel. And then he just stays with the shot. Clears beautifully. So lets the hip come out. And there's no sign of like over-rotation with the hand. So it's a really balanced motion. And we've already seen he's long enough. At 15. Now, I know he's sinewy and supple and all that, but he's still generating a lot of speed.
That's a costly shot from Leo Oyo, Frank. Yeah, I was talking to Ben's Petpersert, who's the coach here in Thailand, about TK. We'll get to him in just a moment. So what do you do here, Frank?
You're only going to play it if you can get it into a superior position. I mean, I really don't see the value in this because I don't think he can get it onto the greens. So he's going to have a little decide. Hopefully he's not going to waste any time.
picked up and more work than he was hoping for to get out of here with this par.
Well, this is risky because if he's dropping the ball, he's just going to drop it just up on that hill. So he must have a little bit more grasp behind that ball. And of course, the advantage of the new rule is, you can ground the club, play like any other shot. But I mean, to be honest, there's no advantage there than just taking it out. I mean, he's still playing his fourth shot, so big risk for very little gain. The new rule, I mean, obviously it removes any doubt. Remember when sometimes there's a little bit of grass or the ball touches it, does it? You have to sort of zoom in with cameras and all that now. It's just very, very straightforward.
You like the change?
It's much simpler. I never grew up with it, but it makes a lot of sense. It removes the doubt.
Especially in this era, as you alluded to, with the television cameras
Exactly.
and all of that.
Not everybody gets a camera on them, so it's a little fairer. Now, I think in retrospect, it would have been an easier fourth shot for Oyo from the other side.
Little bit of experience there, Frank?
Yeah, maybe a little bit of regret, too, if he doesn't get this up and down. You learn through your mistakes, just like in anything. Really, it's going to be three holes that are going to kill this round.
This championship continuing to make a tremendous progress, Frank. Of the 12 members from the International Junior President's Cup team that played recently in Charlotte, North Carolina, 8 are in this field, including the reigning U.S. Junior Amateur Champion Wen Yi Ding of China, who shot 3 under 69 earlier today, and Tim Clark, the captain. And then the big boys, you see Cam Davis, Siwoo Kim, Hideki, K.H. Lee, all AAC alums.
Yeah, and the beauty of this, too, they get to meet the big team, so to speak, too. So rub shoulders with them, and they learn a lot. I think it's a great part of that initiative.
Won big championships, players' championships, talking about AAC alums on the PGA Tour, the DP World Tour, the Asian Tour, all over the world. And don't forget Sebastian Munoz. Frank was on that International President's Cup team, and he's an alum of the Latin America Amateur Championship.
Yeah, that championship started just not that long after this, but already producing the same type of talent and impact now. Oyo to avoid his third 6 of the day.
Way to hang in there, Leo Oyo. That'll do a world of good for his confidence. Shows some fight, some toughness right there. Could have hung his head, Frank. Instead, he gets out of here sub 70.
Yeah, I think 2 6s on par 5s, and that really very costly. But that was a huge 5 in the end.
Just continuing to try to clean up some of the rough edges around his game. As Colton O said earlier, he can, I like this phrase, he can ship it off the tee. Hits it a long ways. And now, here is TK.
This putt, if anything, can just move to his right. Around a 66.
So he'll tap for 67. That could have been very easily 64 today, Frank.
Yeah, I think that was the limit. Lovely little gesture there at the end.
See that everywhere you go in Thailand. Such modest, humble people, gracious, hands clasped in front of them. They bow, way to express their gratitude.
When they serve you another plate of food, Rich, then you Seem to enjoy the cuisine already.
We've had our share. Been a really wonderful stay so far. Love the country. Now Hayden Hopewell, this for a round of 70. Poor second shot.
Yeah, that's best way to put it.
You still like to see that, even with the disappointment. Hat off. Handshakes. That's the proper way in this game. And let's go down to Amanda Renner with the championship leader.
With Bo Jin, a guy we're used to seeing at the top of this leaderboard year in and year out. Bo, when you think about your game now compared to a year ago, what are the things you've been working so hard on that we just saw today?
A little bit of everything. I feel like I always try to work. I mean, golf is a sport that you got to do well in every single category to play well. But I'm trying to focus more on my course strategy and try to control more of my emotion. And yeah, that's about it. Yeah, I mean, just try to work hard every day and try to get better. So yeah.
Last year, you were in contention up until that final day, and I feel like you have learned so much each year. What can you take from your past experiences to push through for the next 3 rounds and finally step into that winner's circle here?
I mean, I hope so. It's the first round. I got 3 more rounds to go, but definitely trying to win, and I really hope so. What I can learn, I definitely learned a lot. It was a good experience for the past 2 years, but I've just tried to play aggressive and just try to play my best, and we'll see what happens after 3 days.
And of course, you know, we always got to bring up the fact that your brother won here in 2015, and we talked about that a lot last year. Have you talked to him this week? Can he still give you advice when you tee it up at a place like this, knowing what's on the line?
You know, I think he plays a big factor this week.
Yeah.
Remember how I told you I almost didn't make my flight out? I ended up calling him. He was like, just get a ticket and get to LAX first. So I guess he plays a big factor. If not, I wouldn't even be here today. So.
Yeah, very quickly, Rich, before I throw it back to you, I'm very proud of you because what did you decide to do before coming here this week? You only got 1 practice round in, but it was for a very good reason, right?
Yeah, I went to homecoming and beat Texas. Go Pokes.
We love a little football talk in the fall. Back to you, Rich.
About the Oklahoma State Cowboys. And they're having a pretty good season, that's for sure. So champions from People's Republic of China. We talked about Tianlong Guan right here at Amata Spring a decade ago. And I heard Amanda talk to Bo about his brother Cheng, who won Clearwater Bay. And Frank, you were at all of these.
Yeah.
Yu Jin Lin, left-hander, now playing for the University of Florida.
Tons of power. I mean, the diversity, I think, you know, you go from the youngest champion in Guan, you know, Chen, we just referenced, 54 holes. Wasn't his fault, that's for sure. It was Mother Nature. But Yu Jin Lin, too. And they all played 3 different styles in that, but they're a great watch. I mean, Yu Jin Lin has a lot of talent. But Bo Jin today, 65. I mean, what we saw with him.
He began the day with a bogey at the par 4 first hole, but then he really got it into gear. 3 birdies after that on the front side. Now he makes the turn. Birdie here at number 10, Frank.
Yeah, good approach shot over the top of the flag, so it's downhill, so it wasn't as slow. But really, this is where things started to change. I mean, it was a great second shot into the par 5. See a little bit of slice in this putt.
That's for eagle.
Yep, center cut. And that got it moving, so very quickly to 5 under. And really didn't do much wrong. His next birdie came at 15. Came in a hard way. Remember, he missed the green to the left, poor chip. I was questioning the decision, and then he just bang, in it went. That was a gorgeous one, that 4. So it might have been a bonus, but 17 at the par 3. This was just gorgeous, really nice tee shot, slightly right of the flag, and this was money. And too, I got to give him credit. The drive up 18. I mean, he just split the fairway, took the bunker out of play. It was huge.
Here he is at the finishing hole.
Yeah.
That's par. So with 6 birdies, an eagle, and the lone bogey in a round of 7 under 65. Again, tied for 3rd a year ago. Had the lead in Dubai. Backed off a little bit in that final round. In his 3rd appearance. Never been worse than 8th. And he is off to a tremendous start. 2019 U.S. Junior Amateur runner-up, 48th ranked player in the world. Bo Jin, establishing that he's least the early going, the man to catch. Bit more to say, too, about the local favorite, and that is TK Chantunanawat. He looked every bit the part of the teen sensation today in his round of 5 under 67. We're off to a great start here in the 13th playing of the Asia Pacific Amateur Championship.
And a lovely interview there with Amanda by our leader, Bo Jin. As you all heard, just one practice round, nearly didn't even make it. And of course, he didn't even complain about the adjustment of the time change, catching that flight from LAX, which, as we all know, California. Los Angeles, flew all the way, one practice round, and posts a round of 65. Currently better by two than anybody else in the field. James Liao, he played this morning for his round of 67. But this is certainly not going to be a runaway. So many players here. You know, there's a host of players. 7 players here at 4 under, bunch on 3 under. And I see a lot of birdies and things during the week, that's for sure. Sights around the golf course, well, they'll be just as captivating. Beautiful temple. And 18, we've seen this hole be difficult. This is Samucci. Uses a long left thumb. Good tee shot. And an even better second shot. So Samucci has a chance to birdie the 18th hole, and that has been rare, that's for sure. 18, just 3 birdies at 18 today. From Japan, Suzuki here at 15, the par 5, just on the top of the hill.
The Asia Pacific Amateur Championship is brought to you by UPS. Be bold, be brave, be unstoppable. 3M Science, applied to life. Delta, keep climbing. And by Rolex. We're just outside of Bangkok, land of the magnificent temples. The smiles we've been greeted with here in Thailand. Second time they've come to Amata Spring for the Asia Pacific Amateur Championship, and Bo Jin, 7 under 65, is leading. And there was so much hope for Ratchanan. They call him TK Chantunanawat, and he delivered today. Could have been much better. It was an absolutely clinical display of ball striking from top to bottom. Wen Yi Ding is the reigning USGA Junior Amateur Champion. He's in at 3 under 69. Carl Phillips plays his college golf at Stanford. Strong young player from Australia. Anson Yo from Malaysia. And Connor McKinney. A lot of observers thought he'd have a good crack at it. 1 under 71 to begin his Asia Pacific Amateur Championship. Further down, hats off to Dongjin Park of Korea. He played with a rental set because his clubs never arrived. "120 players from 38 countries and territories across the Asia Pacific region, which spans some 11,000 miles. "72 holes, low 50 plus ties will make it to the weekend here at this par 72 layout, which has seen a number of major champions compete here, including Tiger Woods, who played a skins game with local great Tongchai Jaidi, Paul Casey, and Camilo Villegas. Called that one Four Corners of the World. That was to commemorate the 60th anniversary of the coronation of the late great king here in Thailand. Beloved figure. Golf course wet. They played lift clean in place today. They had nearly 3/4 of an inch of rain overnight, and they've come through one of the worst rainy seasons they've experienced in a long time. Just to get the golf course here in this condition, remarkable. And here we are at the 18th.
Samuchi could be, and is just the 4th birdie at 18 today.
So Masato Sumiuchi from Japan giving the Japanese another opportunity to win this championship. Think about Matsuyama and the defending champ Keita Nakajima. Takumi Kanaya won in 2018.
Cho at 17, well placed here at 3 under. A solid shot.
This Woo Young Cho, 21 years old, from the Republic of Korea. 7 Korean players in the field.
Yeah, Rich, 17, I mean, it's only 137 yards, but it's already playing about 1/4 of a shot over par. So the player's a little intimidated by all the water around. And if you excuse me for being a little parochial, another talented New Zealand player. And Ford, Jason Ford. See what he can do. Got to meet a lot of the players on the range earlier. With the dinner last night. Well, that was right on line. Just comes up just a touch short.
Looking forward tomorrow, Frank, to seeing another New Zealander, Jimmy Hyde. Really nice young guy. He played well today despite a double bogey on his second to last hole at par 3/8. He shot 68. He's scoping out some dinner here.
Well, just going back to Jaden too, he was one of those members that was part of the Junior President's Cup team. Jaden, just 18 years of age. Now Ganesh. The rain stayed away. That's one of like a blue sky at the moment, but we dodged the forecast. We certainly don't need any more rain on the golf course. It's soft enough.
You see Natishvar Ganesh, 17 years old, from Malaysia. This is his second appearance at the Asia Pacific Amateur. Missed the cut last year in Dubai. There's so many more playing opportunities now all across Asia. We take you back to the 16th.
Suzuki just taking a drop off path there. And of course, he's another player there that's in good form. Suzuki currently 4 under.
Ryuta Suzuki, one of 7 from Japan. Number of big junior tournaments back in Japan. He was teammates with Keita Nakajima, who won the Asia Pacific Amateur Championship a year ago. Teammates at Nippon Sports Science University back in Japan. Hold on. Okay, not too bad. And give you a look at the leaderboard. And the expectations around TK Chantananawat were enormous coming into this championship. Highest ranked player in the World Amateur Golf Rankings at number 12. He delivered at 5 under 67 today. Really, it was flawless. And TK is with Amanda.
TK, you are by far the most talked about, the most hyped up player entering this week at 15 years old. I know I was wondering, how does someone as young as you handle that type of pressure? You certainly handled it today. How did you do it?
I think it's just experience, really. I mean, like, I'd say handling pressure is one of the things that I've seen myself get better at the most. Every time I have a pressuring putt, it feels like I have a little more control than last time. I mean, I still get nervous. I've been shaking the whole day, actually, and a lot of the putts I missed on the first night was from nerves, but I think I'm getting a little better at it, and that's just from how many tournaments I've played.
That is very impressive. There are plenty of players on the PGA Tour that are still trying to work through those nerves, and you're figuring that out. There were so many putts today that they were lipping out, and you stayed patient. Can you talk about the importance of being able to stay patient, and what are you telling yourself in those moments? Because it easily could have just, driven your round down into the ground.
Okay, I got to be honest. I wasn't the best at staying patient today. I did show a bit of emotion, but I'm not destroying the course. I'm not destroying my clubs, and that's the only thing that matters. Because the priority is to get it out before the next shot. Like, I look like I'm about to punch someone after I miss a putt, but on the next shot, my mind it's off that putt. I don't know what that last hole was. I just try to forget it and try the next shot. And I mean, I kept telling my dad, like, I mean, I'm playing some good golf today. Like, the putts, they weren't bad. They just didn't go in. So if I keep doing this, it's got to go in eventually. And it did a couple of times in the back nine. So it was nice to see. It was very satisfying.
As this pressure builds, as you mentioned, your dad is on the bag. He has always been on your bag for big events. How does that relationship help?
I think, like, okay, sometimes it's most of the times it's a good thing. Sometimes it's not the best, but he's more than a caddy. Sometimes he's my dad, sometimes he's my coach, and sometimes in bad timing when he says something as a coach or as a dad, it gets to me, but like the majority of the time he can give like advice as to why I hit a bad shot. Like a normal caddy, he wouldn't say anything, and let's say it's on an anomaly. It's something that I'm doing wrong. Like recently, my alignment has been really off, and my dad is able to tell me that. Like I was hitting my driver pretty terrible the first night, and he was telling me it's your setup and your tempo. So that's kind of like that's the best part of that, of having him in the bag.
And the last question, if there were just a few simple words that were going to get you through this week and get you into the winner's circle, what are those couple keys that you have got to do well?
Oh, it's hard to put into a couple words, but patience, definitely one of them, and confidence. Yeah, I played good yesterday. I played decent today. I think I'm just going to try to keep my mind off other things, off other variables, and just concentrate on my shot.
It was fun to watch. Well done. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you, Amanda.
Love the kid. I mean, I don't know how you don't. Yeah, he's dynamic. He reminds me of Tom Kim. He speaks really good English, ton of personality, and a ton of game.
Well, the great answers, though.
Great.
They're just great answers. They're thoughtful, well thought out. Thanked his dad, too. I mean, I tell you, he's winning a lot of people over.
He was running hot. I like how he said, I didn't destroy any golf clubs. I didn't destroy the course. Get it out of your system before the next shot. Teenage sensation from Thailand.
That's wonderful to hear from TK. Tananawana, who's showing that he's fluent, bilingual, obviously, and well thought out answers really well. Great little insight to perhaps what might happen in the future. He's got energy, that's for sure. Told us he gets angry. He's not alone there, that's for sure. But he's also given a little outlet and information over how to handle it. Let it go. Worry about the next shot. It's good. Look through that leaderboard. Currently nearly 50-plus players that are par or better here at Amata Springs. Come tomorrow evening, top 50 and ties. So exactly 40 players. 49 players, excuse me, even par and better. Still with a good hour and a half of golf left. Share the leaderboard. Seems to get a little more in the red. These guys get more accustomed, more aggressive. of course, well, practice for the player never stops, but also the agronomy team here. A team of 70. Just trying to make sure everything's fine. I know there's been a lot of rain, but so just give that water a little drink. Make sure if there's any brown areas, they look after them. They've done a wonderful job just to recover from, as we said, one of the wettest Septembers on record. More than 27 inches of rain in that month alone.
Hole, Ryuta Suzuki of Japan. 4 under already.
Just the one bogey that came back at 6. As we go forward to 17.
Young Cho, 3rd last year in Dubai.
Oh, huge putt there across the green. Great too.
So 3 shots back of Bo Jin from China, 7 under 65. And it was right here at Amata Spring 10 years ago that another young Chinese star broke through. It was Tianlong Guan at the age of 14, a monumental achievement in the world of amateur golf, with Tianlong Guan winning the AAC.
The 2012 Asia Pacific Amateur Championship is probably the biggest and most meaningful win in my career so far. It really felt like everything just fell into place. I was able to really play against and win the tournament with a lot of great players. The 2013 Masters was just an amazing week from start to finish. I was able to not only play the tournament, but also talk and learn from the best players in the world. Looking back at that experience now, I feel like it's just a great privilege to be able to play with the best players in the world and see what they are doing at such a young age, and really give me a standard for me to motivate myself to be the best player I can be. I always dreamed to be a professional player when I started to play golf, but the win at Asia Pacific Amateur definitely gave me the confidence of knowing that I can probably do it. I hope I can get back to the big stage in golf like the Masters and competing with the best player in the world soon. And I'm working hard now to get myself ready.
Wins the AAC, all of 125 pounds, by 1 shot over C.T. Ban, who has since gone on to win on the PGA Tour. And then following April, he set the Masters Tournament PGA Tour records by making the cut at Augusta National. And you see, he held off, Frank, and you were on the call. Hideki Matsuyama down there at 7th as the players, and the reigning Open champ Cameron Smith.
And it was just remarkable. Guan actually led Hideki by 10 shots after 36 holes. I thought that alone was just sort of portend for things to come. It was quite amazing. As we catch up with play here at 17, Suzuki.
Remember how big that story was at Augusta National. Even with the slow play penalty, managed to make the cut.
He played with Crenshaw, and I think that was, you probably couldn't have got a better draw, because Ben's going to tell you the truth. And Ben was prolific as an amateur, arguably the best amateur since Jack Nicklaus, as we watched Cho here at 18. And Ben said he is remarkable. He's 14. And it was a record. It was a remarkable achievement.
I don't know if you remember, 2 weeks after the Masters, he made the cut again on tour when he competed in New Orleans. He also played the Byron Nelson, the AT&T, and then the Memorial Tournament that year. And people have asked, what's happened to Tianlong Guan? He earned his card on the PGA Tour China, and he's competing professionally.
Yeah, and when I looked at Guan, I mean, as we look at Cho now, he didn't have the body or the build of Cho. I mean, this is sort of a wonderful athlete here. This is more the sort of player we see now that are capable of hitting the ball nearly 300 yards, well taught. Guan was sort of, I mean, as you referenced, he's about 120 pounds. I mean, it was not like Cho's an athlete here, and there's no surprise if we see Cho on the leaderboards in years to come, because he hits the ball like a lot of the guys are already, they're playing professional golf around the world.
Salman Jahangir from Pakistan. He's 31 years old. Remember running into Salman last year with some of the players from India like Rehan Thomas. There have been tensions through the years, Frank, between those two countries, living in this part of the world for as long as you did, Pakistan and India. And Salman made the good point that this goes to what you had said earlier about golf bringing people together. Salman said, you can be my opponent, you don't have to be my enemy. And that's a beautiful part of this game and what it can do, bring people together.
Yeah, it does, and I've always tried to figure that out, whether it's business or, when I started playing golf at the age of 13, so it's a little later than most, but one of the theories that I came up with as we watched, Rehan just tap in, is you normally play with older people in golf. It's one of those sports, you're not just limited to your age group as we go back to 16. And I think you learn a little bit of respect. You don't always see that in a lot of other sports.
I agree with you. Here we are at 17.
And that green really does sit out there. It's quite striking. You can see it, just about anywhere else on the golf course on the higher spots.
Where do you suspect they will put the pin on Sunday?
The debate is whether they play it short and have it on the front. I mean, if I had my way, I'd push it back. I always think, you just got to really, really push people to the limit when everything else is on the line. But
coming to the close of this opening round here at the Asia Pacific Amateur Championship, and it is one of the pre-championship favorites, Bo Jin, leading by 2 after 65.
And this way, this way. On boy.
Suzuki now at this par 3 17th. Long one here. If he drops it, he's at 5 under.
And that would be a tie for second.
Did he? No. Still, good try.
Good effort, I tell you. He needed just half a roll more. That was in. Just one bogey on his scorecard today. That came back at 6. So. As we ramp, there's 120 local female caddies. Now, Joe, after that excellent tee shot, here is second at 18.
Good looking move right there. To my eye, Frank, you're the expert. But
no, very, very simple. Right over the top of the flag. Their work ethic too. You know, you see that. A little shout out to Lydia Cope. Her parents obviously came from Korea. She won again last week. Excellent amateur career. And the ladies will play next week too. Ladies amateur event here
in Thailand.
Now, Jahanga back at 17. Much needed birdie. He's 2 over. They're just athletic. You see them work out. I mean, we're lucky enough to be staying in the same hotel this year. There's an excellent gym there. I mean, these boys are, I mean, they're at it. You know, there's a big carrot at the end, I know that, but they work, you know, you can see he's working in, day out.
There are no secrets anymore, Frank, as to what it takes to play elite level golf.
Yeah, that old phrase, dig it out of the dirt, that hasn't changed. And these guys aren't scared of it either. They realize there's an opportunity. They realize the depth of talent now around the world has never been deeper, but the opportunity, should you get yourself out of the pack, is huge. It's enormous.
The would-be Hogans of today, though, have to do more than dig it out of the dirt. They have to dig it out of the gym. You have to have speed now. And the way to more speed is through strength training, and it's nutrition, sports psychology, and everything that's available to the professionals is now available to the junior players. It's all there.
Now, Jaden Ford, his parents, both rugby players. I mean, Hayden played rugby and cricket. I mean, he's a very good athlete. I mean, he's just 18 years of age. One of his biggest achievements, believe it or not, he made the last 32 of the New Zealand Amateur. Maybe that's not so great. He was 12.
12 years old.
12 years of age. So he made it through the stroke play and got into the last 32 at just 12 years of age.
What'd you play growing up in New Zealand besides golf?
Well,
New Zealand, you're a really good tennis player.
We played, you in school, you had to play all sorts of sports. And one of the beauties of that, you were good in some and bad in others. You learnt respect for people that were better than you in the sports you were no good at. And then you also knew what it was like to lead if you were in one of the sports you were fortunate enough to be very good at.
Frank, as we are in the era of specialization, hyper-intensive focus on one sport, in this case it's golf, are you a proponent, as Nicklaus has always been, of playing other sports?
Yeah, I am.
Why?
Just as we watched Cho here, his birdie attempt, I think it helps you with your balance because, you know, you fall in love with this great game of golf. But there's times when, as we heard from TK, you get angry. So I think it just creates an outlet and a balance. And as I said, just because you excel in one, sometimes you get a little bit of humility by struggling in something else, whether that be music or art. I think you need a diversion. So I think it balances out the individual. Makes you less selfish. So excellent opening round.
Contending for the second consecutive year, Woo Young Cho of Korea.
But you talked about Hogan too. We see some of these countries. I want to go back to the Republic of China, which formerly, I remember a lot of the players that I remember. That, you know, they had a player, Chen Qingpo, who's really the grandfather of Taiwanese golf, as they called it then. Republic of China, obviously, as we know, and he was considered the Asian Hogan, the quality of the strike. And when we see a lot of the players, and I've looked at this week, the players from the Republic of China, they're beautiful hitters of the ball.
I remember Tom Watson was over there in China a few years back and did a clinic. And he got a chance to see some of these young Chinese players, and he came away convinced that they are going to be producing champions just based on the quality of the swings that he saw, quality of the instruction, and the strike.
Yeah, you pass it down. Jaden Ford's learned. You know, we were just talking about multiple sports from his parents, but golf's the game for him at the moment. Also, he has a Samoan heritage in New Zealand, very multicultural. So he's been back to Samoa to visit. Yeah.
Go ahead. A long reach. Long arm of the law right there. And red figures. And let's go back down to Amanda.
Thanks, Rich. You know, we talk a lot about the winner on Sunday, but there are so many other players who are winners just by being able to qualify for this field. And Azan Al-Rumi from Oman is one of those. He used to be a tennis player for the junior national team, but after Tiger Woods won the Masters in 1997, he told me he and his brother both decided to start playing golf. Now, the biggest challenge in picking up the game was that in Oman, back then, there were no grass courses. They were all sand courses. Over the first 12 years after picking up golf, he only played on sand. But then he and his brother and his dad started traveling to Dubai once a month to play on grass courses. But the challenges continued. There were no coaches, no professionals in Oman, and Azan and his brother were the only two junior golfers in the entire country. But here he is walking down these fairways. This is what makes him the perfect candidate for the AAC Academy, which he has been a part of. It is players that show unbelievable passion and perseverance and, of course, potential.
Amanda, 21 players at that academy from 16 different countries. So they had one in Dubai, one here at Amata Spring, with great coaching. We watched Suzuki here at 18. The RNA and the Masters tournament feel strongly they have a duty to improve the standard of golf around the world. They handpick players from countries that need a boost, like Oman. Maybe they're shooting in the high 70s, and through these academies, again, the two this year, they might turn Oman or Vietnam into the next Singapore, something like that. So, Frank, low scoring today. They played lift, clean, and place, golf course soft, and they got after it. So let's start with Leo Oyo of Japan.
Here at the par 5. This was his third shot. He'd found the bunker off the tee and just hit it stone cold close. Beautiful shot. Guarantee his four. Wheels are coming off a little bit too. That was much needed. 17 to par 3. We all talked about it. The island green.
Woo Young Cho, South Korea. Good roll right there. He shoots 68 on the day. Leo Oyo, 69.
The second hole, the reachable par 5. And this was in the morning wave. James Lowe.
Mentioned Singapore, James Liao. Shooting 567, recent graduate of Arizona State. I really enjoyed watching this guy. It's my first time seeing him. I'd heard about him, and he lived up to all the hype, Frank, I thought.
Well, he had the best club twirl of the day, that's for sure. That was one example there today.
I mean, a lot of twirls today.
Yeah, you could see the reason why, and that was guaranteed birdie. 11, another par 5. TK, that was the eagle putt. He had two glorious shots there, was still denied. Frustrated, but it was a very easy birdie.
Rachanan Nanuwat. They call him TK.
But did get one at the other par 5.
Did a wonderful interview with Amanda after it was all over. Really spirited guy with a ton of personality to match the big game. Frustrated. He had so many good shots, didn't see putts go in, but hung in there. And now Bo Jin makes the turn, and he starts with a birdie here at 10, Frank.
Yeah, that was great. He'd gone out in 34, and this sort of really started just something different. We didn't see it coming. Two great shots into 11. Watch this one just turn a little right into the middle. He was the 36-hole leader last year, too.
So an eagle at number 11. Now at 15. He had a poor chip shot, now his fourth to the par 5. It's birdie. And then at 17.
A good tee shot, safe side of the flag. The stroke was very good. I mean, this is good speed. Green's running a little under 10 because of the rain. Just a gorgeous 2. So 7 under. And that was despite a bogey at the opening hole.
6 birdies and an eagle. Again, trying to match his brother Cheng Jin, who won the Asia Pacific Amateur Championship 7 years ago. Great start for the locals, putting 10 players in this championship, most of any country. Carl Phillips, keep an eye on him, can really play, from Australia. He's at Stanford. And Wen Yi Ding, 369 solid. The 17-year-old from China, who's the reigning USGA Junior Amateur Champion. Aaron Du plays at Cal. A lot of people like Connor McKinney coming in.
Yeah, I saw him last year. Very impressed. Sam Jones has also been playing well from my home country there. But, just any of these guys can come out of the pack tomorrow. 71 is nothing to be disappointed about. I know the lead currently is 7. They might be 6 back. But Jaden Ford, we just saw him putt out for opening round of 71. Moriyama, another good player from Japan.
Jeff Guam was on the short list of pre-championship contenders as well.
A few people disappointed, obviously, when they got on the blue numbers today.
Kavish Varadan plays at Alabama Birmingham. Really good young player. Made the match play at the U.S. Amateur this past summer. And we saw Al Rumi in Amanda's story. Here he is.
It's great to see the other side. I mean, sometimes we just look at the name and the score. I know he's struggling today, but then when you, as Amanda detailed, his journey, it puts a totally different light on it. And in years to come, he might just be, the starter, the person that lights the fire, the fire in Oman, for players in years to come, because he'll pass it down.
What it's all about. Theme here is creating heroes. A good look at it here for Japan's Ryuta Suzuki. He's 4 under par.
Yeah, slightly uphill, plays about 2 yards uphill. The second shot here at 18, that flag just only 5 or 6 paces on. Very good width to that swing. Not beyond the green, but it's not too bad. It's fairly flat around the front.
Day 1 takeaway, Frank, what is it?
I just look at the leaderboard. It was a bit like last year. Jin got off to a great start. I know he didn't take it all the way through to the finish. He was beaten by the #1 amateur in the world, but he's in that same position basically again. I mean, I think that's hats off. I mean, it's the story of the day. But TK, all the talk was about him coming in. He has not disappointed. His name is on that front page of the leaderboard, but I'm impressed. These are not household names, all the others yet, but if you watch them on the range, it's very hard to sort of single out who's the best player in the field.
I think TK has a real chance to be special.
Oh, he does. But this game, it doesn't play favorites. So really, the day belongs to Bo Jin.
And we thought we would see low scores because of the soft conditions after the heavy rains overnight. And they were playing lift clean in place, and they really did take advantage. 7 under, Bo Jin is leading. Great thanks to Sellers Shy and Mike Crow, leading all of the hardworking women and men in the truck and on the ground. For my partner, Frank Nobilo, Paul Gow, Colt Knost, and Amanda Renner, I'm Rich Lerner saying so long for now from Amata Spring Country Club in Chonburi outside of Bangkok, Thailand, and the Asia Pacific Amateur Championship.